yari leta n'abari abanzi bandi nyine bari basanzwe. Mbere hose mu ntambara zabagaho leta ya abantu bazaga barwana na ziriya ntwari zindi za mbere bazaga barwana, ariko leta iri mu ruhande rwacu. Baja kugenda bazamuka, leta yari yamaze guhengama rwarangiye, barwana ziriya ntambara zose kugeza rero ku munota wa nyuma w'umunsi wo gupfa. Ndibuka bapfuye ku munsi wa gatatu, bamubwira ngo ayo makuru mbwiye ndingize ubwoba kuko hagiye kubaho ikintu, kuko yarambwiye akantu bamuhamagaye bageze iriya ruguru makanika nje ubwanje sinari muza amasuku yandi, ariko ngo agereyo turavukana burundu. Uriya murumuna wacu aduhuza nawe ndetse n'abana babo turahura, b'amayisikoti yabo turahura, tuba umuntu umwe. Nubwo amakuru ya ruguru twazaga tuyamenya buri segonde yabayeho. Nuko umunsi bapfaga n'uwo munsi wabaye w'umwijima ukomeye. Ndashoje tuja twumva nyine tubuze abantu bakomeye. Ziriya n'intwari tutagomba kwibagirwa. Reka tubashimire mwebwe abateguye uyu munsi, nubwo dutekereza yuko wenda twari kwibuka wenda ruguru hatekanye burundu, ariko igihe niki ngiki, igihe niki nacyo birashika, igihe niki. Reka tubashimire abateguye uyu munsi kandi mugahereza izi ntwari agaciro. Mwabahaye agaciro, natwe turishima. Kuvukana n'intwari n'ibyo agaciro, kuvukana n'umuntu nyine yamara akaba intwari. Ariko hari abandi bariho bazibagirana n'igihe bazarangiza bakibagirana, kandi barabaye abagabo, barakuze bakaba abagabo bakitwa amazina, ariko umunsi wo kurangira bazibagirana burundu. Aba bacu ko baribukwa, reka mbashimire yuko mwabahaye agaciro. Reka nsoze rero nanone mvuga ngo nubwo bimeze gutyo, iriya miryango ni yanyu. Ariya magambo yose generali yavuze nayo kwibuka kandi akagenderwaho. Bariya bapfakazi na ziriya mfubyi bagiye basiga, reka dusabe ngo nanone muze mubitaho, muzobamenye, mubabe hafi, kandi muzirikane igikorwa ababyeyi babo basize, namwe muzacuse kandi mubiteho. Murakoze cyane, reka mbashimire kandi nizere yuko dukomera kandi tukazagera no ku munsi wo kuzaririmba insinzi burundu. Imana ibampere umugisha mwese.
Pasiteri Kigeli arakoze. Bavandimwe, inshuti, imiryango iri hano, abahagarariye umuryango w'amahoro, abavandimwe ba gakondo ihagarariye umuryango mugari w'abanyamurenge ku isi, urwego rukuru rw'abamama b'abanyamurenge, bagenzi banjye bari hano, imiryango uretse gusa iyi miryango ibiri ihagaze hano, ariko imiryango y'abavandimwe bose bamaze kubura abavandimwe babo muri kiriya gihugu, turagira ngo tubabwire ngo mukomere. Turashima Imana ko muhesheje zino ntwari agaciro. Abavandimwe bateguye uyu munsi bakaza kugira ngo tubashe guhagararana namwe, tubaheze agaciro kabakwiriye kaba umuntu. Icyo kintu turabashimiye, kandi rwose abayobozi bari hano bazabigeze no ku bandi batari hano. Agaciro gakwiriye General Michel kugeza ku munsi wa nyuma yambuwe ubuzima, birakwiriye ko umuntu wese agomba guhagarara akabiha agaciro kugira ngo tubashe kuzakomeza kubaho. Rero General Michel ngize ngo mubabwire mu by'ukuri buri muntu wese amufite mu buryo butandukanye mu mutima wiwe. Ndatekereza hari umugabo wavuze iri jambo i Nairobi, avuga ko ari umuntu wabonaga umwanya wo kuvugisha abayobozi. Hariho abayobozi bari hano nka Presidente Adela Kibasumba arabizi, akavugisha abana, akavugisha abagabo, akavugisha abayumbe, akavugisha abakene, akavugisha abakire, yamara akagenda akajya kurwana akavugisha abarwanashaka. Uwo mwanya wose akawubona, yamara akarwanira igihugu agahagarara ku nkike. rero kugira ngo zenda ngiye mbashe kumubasobanurira uko namuvuga, we wasanga we umufite ukundi kuntu umutima njyewe ntabasha kuvuga. Ariko ukuri uko yagendaga akunda umuryango mugari w'abanyamurenge niko yagendaga akunda n'umuryango wacu hagati. Ejo muri no misi amaze kuja muri zino nshingano yararimo, yaramaze kugaba inka mahembe 69. Wa munsi yashinguwe amaze kugaba iyindi ya 70. Ariko aratubwira ngo izi nka niza mahembe hatazagira uhotekereza kugira ngo azituze kubera ko abanyamurenge ariko mwabaye. Ati izi ngizi ni inka za mahembe naha y'abantu. Aragenda ajya mu muryango wacu rugari mwacu hagati, afatamo abantu 5, arabashingira abaheza 8, uko muzi 8 bararongoranywa, atatubajije akagenda agakubita inka ruhembe, akagenda agakwera umuntu bakamurongoranya agataha. Aragiye asanzemwe abana 10 bari mu bandagara badafite ishinge na rugero bo mu mwacu hagati nimwe ndimuvuga. Aragenda arabafata aravuga ngo kugira abandagare baziwe mu rugo. Kugeza ubu mu byukuri yarashingiye muri abo ngabo, yarashingiyemo 2, abandi bamwe baracyari mu mashuri ariko bibo mu rugo. Yaramaze gushingira abantu batamukomokaho 31 batarimwe abasirikare. Mwese murabizi, umuryango wose uri hano urabizi. Yageze ruguru uko ya trainingaga abantu niko yashingiraga abasirikare, niko yashingiraga abakobwa. Aragenda ubwo yarageze Bukavu subiye inyuma bukeya, ahamagara abagore b'abasirikare bo muri Gumino abazi, abazani Bukavu, abashiriwe mu rugo mu nzu ya leta Mutebutsi. Abantu benshi barabizi. Aragenda arababaza ngo ese niki mwokora. Bamwe abaheza imyuga, biga imyuga, n'ubu nyine batunziriya miryango kuko yabonaga ko hari umunsi uzogera bakibagirana, cyangwa hakaba ubwo abantu ibi bibazo bizaba byinshi tukaza tugenda tugira impfu zirenze n'uwo wari ufite uwo mwanya ukaba utabasha kuba waba ukimwibuka. Generale yagiye aheza buri muntu wese akantu mu mutima wiwe mu buryo afite hamwibukira. Umunsi umwe nahawe ubuhamya n'abarwanashaka barambwiye ngo bari muri Ayewa, njyewe sinari ndiyo, ngo baramuhamagara kuri phone, niwe wabahamagaye. Wamara arababwira ngo mbere ko tuganira namwe ngo ni munyibwire. Bamwe ngo baraseka bavuga ati abantu 40 n'abangahe uyu muntu turamwibwira gute? Baramwibwira. Umuntu akamuvuga na se na sekuru, yari akamubwira ngo n'umugore wawe washatse n'uyu. Bamwe atarababona mu maso. Ubwo nibwo niryo shaka n'umutwaro yagiriraga ubwoko. Rero uyu muntu muri no mwanya ngize ngo mubabwire, muzukwe natekeje ntese tumuvuze nka Gidiyoni murumva twaba tugiye kure. Tumuvuze se nka Mose ahubwo twaba nabwo tugiye kure. Ahubwo kubera ko ndi umwemera Mana, jiwe naravuze timuzi ko izina rya Yesu bavuga ngo musi ijuru ntarindi izina rihari. Kandi Yesu kintu cyamuzanye ni kimwe gusa. Yajanye kugira ngo acungure abari mu mwijima. Ndavuga nti uyu muntu amagambo yiwe ukuri ntawagereranywa nawe, ariko igihe yazamutse agiye gutanga ubuzima bwe kubana. N'umunsi yapfuye, umunsi yambuwe ubuzima. Hashize iminsi 3 ku giti cyanjye, njewe abantu banzi iminsi 3 n'abandi bantu tuziranye, nta muntu uvugana n'undi, imbuga zose zarahagaze. Ibyo bintu kandi byabaye igihe cya Yesu. Igihe Yesu yapfuye ubwira kabiri bwarabaye, haba iminsi 3 nta muntu avugana n'undi kugeza Yesu azutse. Abagore bagiye kuvuga ati yazutse. Rero uyu muntu ntabwo yari umuntu wo kugereranywa n'abantu bo kwisi babaho. Ariko Imana yari yaramutanze muri kino gihe kugira ngo agire icyo akora. Bavandimwe, Imana yahagurukije General Michel mu bwoko bwacu bw'abanyamurenge. Ihagurutsa General Makenga muri bwoko bw'abatutsi bahari hakurya. Mu byukuri bafata umukingo ukomeye kugira ngo ko ahagurikiriwe rekare. Abantu bose bakazavuga ngo baramwirukanye. Abona ko aza ibuni yaho umuryango we waruri, atekereza ko bazogira ngo none yakoroganye n'abantu cyangwa akazi karamunaniye. Ahitamo kujikinshasa, ahagurukira ku buyobozi bw'igihugu kugira ngo bamenye impamvu imutwaye aho agiye. Mu ijoro rya Noel yarampamagara arambwira ngo nubwo mwebwe muhamuririmba ubunyine, njyewe ndi Bujumbura ndikingiranye, ndimo ndashaka ko nakwambuka ibuvira ejo. Uwo niyo ntwari turimo tubabwira. Naje gutekereza nibuka umunsi Goliyati yari matuka ingabo ubwoko bw'Isirayeli ngo arabatuka iminsi 40 abagabo bamwumva bose ngo bagahita bajya munsi bagahinda umushitsi. Hanyuma Dawudi aravuga ati ntabwo nareka ko n'ubwoko bwasuzugurwa bweza kuri kano kagere nubwo bamubonaga ari umwana. Umunsi yumvishije ko abagore bahe babatema amabere yarahagurutse aragenda aravuga ngo akagasuzuguro k'abamayimayi n'abazarendu n'ingabo z'ibindi bihugu ngomba kugenda akazimaraho. Nicyo kintu yakoze. Ashize mu bijabo yakoze imirimo ikomeye yo gutraininga. Aravuga ngo guhera ku mugabo w'imyaka 70 ngo wese yabakikirwanira. Ibyo yarabikoze kandi murabizi. Rero bavandimwe, ntabwo namuvuga muri amagambo yose ngo murangize, ariko reka mfata n'umwanya gushimira abantu. Tumaze kumva inkuru y'incamugongo, hari abantu bihuse bamugeraho. Reka mfate umwanya gushimira amahoro. Nukuri nubwo mahoro ubu nyine byenda nubwo umuntu yavuga mu buyobozi, ariko bavandimwe ndababwiza ukuri, ndashimira Adele. Yakoze yego ari umuyobozi urangaje abandi imbere, ariko hari ibintu yakoze birenze. Ndashimira umuryango w'abarwanashaka. Mwakoze ibintu umuntu atabona uko yavuga. Ndashimira urwego rw'abamama burangajwe imbere na Anastasia. Ikintu abamama bakoze sinzi ukuntu umuntu yabasha kugisobanura, ariko mwumve ko tubashimiye. Rero turashima Imana ko General Michel yavutse mu muryango wa Bikanga, avuka mu muryango wa Gasinzira, ariko ngo Amare avuka mu muryango w'Abanyamurenge. Icyo kintu turagishimira Imana. Reka ndangize mvuga ngo murabona ukuntu tungana twese, all of us, we almost American citizens, dutanga tax. Abantu bavuga ko tutahunze baba bigiza nkana. Nubu muri sale gusa mwogira umutima ufatika tukavuga ngo twese duhaguruke nkuko twahagurutse muri no sale tugende Washington DC tubwire President Trump ngo bano bantu nabatanga amatax. Kandi ntabwo twaje hano kwinezeza, tukeneye kubaka iwacu. Mu by'ukuri kw'Imana ndababwiza ukuri, Trump yosohoka akatwumva, ariko ikibazo nuko duhamagarana hakagenda abantu 10 tibamenya bari. Ariko kino kintu tugihagurukiye rimwe cyakorwa. Ikindi Imana yatuzanye hano ni nk'uburyo nawe yagiye. Nimureke dukanguke dufatikanye. Aba pastor ntimuzi Martin King King, timwaremonye Jackson yarayapfuye hariya wa Chicago, yari umupastor wa Baptiste, yaragurutse avuganira bene wabo. Uyu munsi wari uyu munsi kandi nguyu mu kwezi kwa kabiri abirabura bagira ijambo. Nukuvuga ngo twebwe turi mukuza twamara tukaba intimide, hakaba ubwo umuntu atinya kuvuga ngo pastor ngo se ngo abakristo baravuga gute, baravuga nyine se gute. None se tureke batema amajosi, amabere y'abagorwa maciki abamwe bayatemagure ku misozi, inyama z'abene wacu zigume ziribwe. Biradusaba kuko dufata conscience ibidutandukanya bikaba bike, ahubwo tugahuriza kuco yarwaniye. Icyo tutagikoze twaba dutatiye amaraso yiwe, ntabwo yaba arimo avuga kuri ya misozi. Ariko amagambo yo gusubiranamo makeya mureke tuyarenge, hanyuma dutekereze ku mugambi urambye wo kugira ngo tuzasubireyo. Ikibereka mureke mbabwiriza ukuri kw'Imana. Mwese ubu mufite amapassport, muri mu kujya muri biriya bihugu. Iyo ugiye mu ndege ukareba abanyarwanda n'abarundi bafasha abana babo bagiye kubereka iwabo, uri umuntu ugira ubwenge ugarutse wahiturira. Ese musi abana bazojya kubereka hehe? Kayamba Steve, abana bawe uzojya kubereka. Nushiki Kigali hari uzabara imiti, nushiki Burundi uzabara imiti. Aho twagombye kujya kubereka nukujya kubereka ngo doraho basogokuru banyu naho aho bafiriye, akabarango tugomba twese kwerekeza. Mureke ndangize mbabwira ngo Imana ibahumugisha. Mu by'ukuri turatekereza yuko ubu nyine kuko nabandi babikoze tuzogera igihe kimwe tubasubire tubiyambaze, tubabwire kuko umuryango umuryango n'umuryango tuzogeza n'ahantu natwe tujya kuzakora ikiriyo cyo kubwira abana no kubahebuza. Uyu munsi ni nko kwanama rwose, twebwe no kwanama ni nkaho dutangiye kwanama. Turabasabye ngo umuntu wese uzagerageza gushaka kugera kuri famiye ya general ashobora kunyura kuri Mahoro, ashobora kunyura ku barwanashaka, ashobora kunyura kuri Gakondo, ariko mu muryango wacu hariho John Mwirangabo ariwe wananiwe kugera hano, nawe niwe twasabye kuba abana nabo muri bino bihe abazabasha kubageraho bose, ariko bitabujije ko natwe n'undi wese nawe ufite uburenganzira bwo kubageraho. Kuko Kigere arangije avuga, zino mfubyi zisiga uretse gusiza abana bombi n'abandi bose tugomba kugira conscience yo kugira ngo tubashe gufata uyu mukingi. Imana ibaho umugisha, murakoze.
Ijambo yateguwe ry'uyu munsi, mukomera amashyi uyu mugabo. Muraho, katubanze dutange mpore.
Umutima ngenda bashaka ariko ukuri uko yagendaga akunda umuryango mugari w'abanyamurenge niko yagendaga akunda n'umuryango wacu hagati. Ejo muri no minsi amaze kujya muri zino nshingano yari arimo nk'amahembe 69 wa munsi shinguwe amaze kugaba.
Ubundi iyi buji itanga umuco mu nzu, iritwika igashya igashira, abo muzo bakabona umuco, yashira mu gatwika indi. Uko niko ubuzima bw'intwari bumeze, baritanga batanga ubuzima bwabo abandi babona ubuzima. Kizi buji mwabonye twakije. Rero reka nongere nsaba barashaka bari hano bahagarariye muri Amerika bahaguruka aho bari, aho bicaye, nongere bashimire. Mu Rwanda shaka wese uri hano muhaguruka aho muri, twongere tubashimire. Barwana shaka turabashimiye. muryango wacu mugari w'amahoro mudusaba gutabara ubwoko bwacu dutanze imisanzu muri dukeya dufite, ariko abana biyemeje gukuba gatatu umusanzu mwadusabye. Niba mwadusabye 75 bagatanga 75. Turabashimiye kandi ntimugacogore muzahore gutyo. Murakoze cyane. Ico dusigaje ni kimwe. Yesu umusore yaramubaje ngo amategeko yose narubahirije none sigaje iki? Yesu aramubwira ngo sigaje ni kimwe. Natwe icyo dusigaje ni kimwe, ni ugutaha. Mwibuka ijambo rya nyuma yatubwiye, yaravuze ngo arifuza ko iyi misozi y'umurenge yuzura abana bayo. Nico dusigaje. Rero iyi sura njewe ineretse ko abanyamurenge tugifite ubumwe. Abari mu bumwe barababarana, bagatabarana, bagahumurizanya, bagakomezanya. Nubwo hari amashami make yagiye yitanyura, ariko amashami menshi twese turacashamikiye hamwe. Kandi ishami iyo ryitanyutse ku giti riruma, nta buzima rero rigifite. Kuba umunyamurenge ntacu mari abanyamurenge, ubunyamurenge bwawe ntacu bumaze. Rero mukomere. Ijambo ry'uyu munsi twongeye kubabara, ariko bavandimwe banyamurenge, nshuti zacu, abadukunda mwese duteraniye hano, uyu munsi duteraniye hano mu kwibuka intwari y'ikirenga y'ubwoko bwacu, Lieutenant General Rukunda Michel Makanika, ndetse hamwe n'izindi mu kwibuka intwari y'ikirenga y'ubwoko bwacu, Lieutenant General Rukunda Michel Makanika, ndetse hamwe n'izindi ntwari zose zabatabarutse, kuko twari tubivuze mbere ye, n'izindi zatabarukanye nawe mumaze kumva uwo munsi, ndetse n'abandi batabarutse nyuma ye kugeza n'uyu munsi n'isaha turi hano. Kubera iki bashizwe mu ciciro c'intwari? Bisaba iki kugira ngo umuntu abe intwari? Intwari ni umuntu ki? Kuba intwari ni ukugira umutima udatinya.
Ibi tuvuze byose hatabuze kimwe zaranze intwari yacu. Twibuka uyu munsi Lieutenant General Rukunda Michel Makanika.
Kuba intwari
ikitonderwa
ni ukugira ubwitange.
Mwibuke
kwigomwa
igihe
inyungu zawe
Lieutenant General Rukunda
ugaharanira
yazamutse atabaye
inyungu rusange, byabana ngombwa
ibibazo yasanze
kubw'abandi.
Yasanze
intwari
abirwanaho
no kugira ubushishozi,
banyanyagiye
kureba kure
hose,
no kumenya
badafite icerekezo kimwe,
kutagaragarira buri wese,
badafite n'intego imwe.
kuba intwari
abaha icerekezo
intangarugero,
bose
birangwa
bafata icerekezo kimwe n'intego imwe,
n'ibikorwa bihebuje yubaka twirwaneho imwe twirwaneho yumva twese icyo turwanira cyo kubaho kwacu duhuje umutima ikaguharanira bose babihuriyeho ntacyo wakora ngo urwanye kuri niko ijambo ry'Imana rivuga kugeza mu rugezi kukurwanira na za bibogobogo n'ahandi hose amaherezo ukuri leta nationale yasanze umunyamurenge ku isi rero intwari nta wewa muhaga ibyiringiro byo kubaho no kugira umuco mwiza umunsi yahagaze mu misozi y'umurenge no mu mikorere intwari atabaye irangwa aho umunyamurenge yari ari hose ku isi birangwa n'umutima ukunda abantu hari ugiye guhagarika inkota kugeza naho utanga ubuzima bwawe bituma bw'abandi ibitekerezo byacu twese ibi tuvuze byose bihurizwa muri makanya hatabuzemo na kimwe nibyo byaranze indwara yacu twibuka uyu munsi leta na general Rukunda Michel Makanya n'umugabo wazamutse gutabara twese turibuka nkuko bamaze kubivuga ntacyo yarafite mu ntoki ze leta na general Rukunda ariko akoresha ubwenge bwe n'ubuhanga bwe inkoni z'umwanzi ibibazo yasanga mu maboko ye yasanze abarizo abakubitisha abirwanaho umwanzi banyanyagiye twese turabizi hose ubwoko bwacu badafite icerekezo kimwe turi mu kaga gakomeye badafite n'intego imwe imyaka 9 irashize arabegeranya twicwa buri munsi tuzira uko dusa tuzira uko twaremwe bafata icerekezo kimwe n'intego imwe niki dusabwa rero gukora yubaka twirwaneho nimba dufite umutima wishaka twirwaneho yumva no gukunda ubwoko bwacu turwanira cyo kubaho kwacu dushobora kubutererana mu bibazo nk'ibi ikibazo cy'ubwoko ukugira icawe umunyamurenge ni wewe umunyamurenge ni jewe twishire mwanya w'abasigaye mu gihugu barishwa buri munsi tubabarane nabo tubabazwe n'ubwicanyi leta yacu dukorera ndetse na leta y'u Burundi yaje gufasha leta ya Kongo kwica abaturage bayo abaturage bo mu bwoko bw'abatutsi muri rusange rero shuti bwoko bwacu tumaze imyaka 9 dutakirisi isi yose twaratabaje dukomeje no gutabaza ijwi ryacu ntibashaka kuryumva ubwoko bwacu duhaguruke twakirane uyu mutwaro w'intambara batwikoreje abantu bamwe ntibakirane imitwaro ntibatabara bashaka kwirebaho gusa bakaba banyamwigendaho abandi bakagira ubwoba bw'ubuzima bagatinya no gutanga umusanzu dukanguke tubyuke duhaguruke rimwe twese isi ntidukunda twirwaneho niyo ntego y'uyu munsi twirwaneho tudashira twiha agaciro twitange dutange umwanya wacu dutange ubushobozi dufite bwose ndahamya neza ko imbaraga dufite turakoresha na 30% duhaguruke rimwe twese intambara yarangira vuba nimba duhaguruke rimwe twese twashiraho iherezo nta bandi dutegereje bazadutabara nikwe twenyine turi kumwe n'Imana yacu nubwo yatinda amaherezo izadutabara harakabaho abanyamurenge harakabaho kwirwanaho kwacu murakoze
arakoze Perezida Steve akoresheje umwanya neza ndagira ngo n'abandi baza gukurikiraho tuze twese gukoresha umwanya twihuta hari ubundi busobanuro nyakwigendera yavuze intwari ngo nugukora ico umuntu wese akagombye ashoboye gukora ariko atahayakora no kuvuga ngo ivyo yakoze hari n'abandi bo bikora ariko badakora. Twinjira rero nanone mu ciciro kindi gikurikira, twahagurukije umuryango umwe ariko murabizi ko twabuze intwari nyinshi zagiye mu bihe bitandukanye. Ndagira ngo duse nk'abumva amateka ku bukeya imfu zacu kugeza kuri uriya mukecuru mwabonye ejo bundi w'imyaka 90 wazize nawe kuko gusa ari umunyamurenge. Ndagira ngo duhereze umwanya umushakashatsi Mzee David Banoge aze hano atugezeho ijambo yaduteguriye y'umunsi wa none.
Ibyo byiza kugira ngo message dutanga n'abandi bayumvice ko nimbabaye sinzi nanimbaje
Rusengo
cyasobanura
Desire Rusengo win
mu bisanzwe umuntu wese wavutse azapfa.
Usually everyone will die at some point.
Ariko hejuru yuko ko dufite iyo deni ko tuzopfa kubera ko twavutse, abanyamurenge twagira izindi mfu zacu twihariye twenyine.
But even though everyone will die, but us Banyamulenge have a particularity in the way we die.
Izo mfu rero nuko dupfa tuzira uko Imana yaturemye.
The kind of death that we die are because of who we are.
Nizo ziriya mfu zose tuzi muzamwumva hano dufite abasaza bazibonye, abatarazibonye nabo barazibwiwe. Izo zose twahuye nazo twazize yuko Imana yatugize uko tumeze ubu nyine.
So all of the death that we've been hearing about from the elders to the current generations, this is all because of how God created us.
Donc tuzi abantu bacu bapfuye bamwe twebwe tutarabaho.
There are people who were killed before I myself was alive.
Muzi za massacre zabaye muri 64 na gatandatu.
You've heard about the massacres in 1964.
Abapfuye kuri Kirumba, abapfuye ku Gatongo,
those who were killed in Kirumba and Gatongo,
abapfuye mu Kirambo,
those who were killed in Kirambo,
abapfuye ku Munanira,
those who were killed in Munanira,
abapfuye mu Mutambara,
those who were killed in Mutambara,
abapfuye mu Minembwe barimo bakarani, abapfuye Inganji barimo ba Rusimbi,
those who were killed in Minembwe and Nganji.
Abo bose bishwe kubera uko Imana yabaremye.
All of those were killed because of who they were.
Hakaba rero abandi indi kategori ya kabiri kuri abo ngabo nabapfuye bahaye barwana ngo tureke gushira.
And the second category are those who were killed while fighting so that we can survive.
Nyuma yo kubona twicwa kubera uko Imana yaturemye,
after we've seen that we're being killed for what God created us for.
Bari abantu baguye ibaraka amagana nta kindi bazize nuko Imana yabaremye.
Those who were killed in Baraka were killed because
abaguye mu Kamanyura nta kindi bazize nuko Imana yabaremye.
Similarly, those who were killed in Kamanyola,
abaguye Kalemi, abaguye muri Vyura nta kindi bazize nuko Imana yabaremye.
In Kalemi, in Vyura, all of those were killed because of how God created them.
Ariko icyaduteranije no munsi nabapfuye bahaye banga ko abantu bashira.
But we are gathered here to remember those who stood up and to fight so that we could survive.
Nukuvuga rero nizo ntwari zacu.
Those are the heroes that we're speaking of.
Izo ntwari zacu zose zibumbiye muri Lieutenant General Michel Rukunda.
So all of those fallen heroes, we see them through Rukunda Michel.
Duhaye tumuvuga rero tuba tuvuga bariya bose bapfuye bahaye bashaka kurenganura ubwoko.
So when we speak about Rukunda Michel, we're speaking about everyone who died alongside while fighting so that we can survive.
Aba rero bapfuye bamaze kubona ko tugiye gushira twababumbiye bavuze ijambo ryiza cyane ngo babumbiye muri Michel nibo no munsi baduteranije hano tutibagiwe ko bahagurukijwe nari amasakire yose tumaze kuvuga.
So we're here to remember all of those who stood up, and even the Burundian says that we're here to confront those who were brought here in the same goal to fight for themselves.
Navuze ngo sinturuka kure cyane ndafata amateka magufi yo muri 1994 mu kwezi k'umunani n'ukwezi k'icenda ibyo bise commission Mvangu.
So I'm not going to go too far. I'm going to focus for the events that happened in 1964, what's referred to a convention of Vangu.
Bamwe muri mwebwe bari bahari.
Some of you were alive at the time.
Abandi byenda barabyumvishije.
And others heard about it.
Icyatumye mfata iyo evenement ukubera iki?
Why am I choosing this particular event?
Icyatumye mfata iyo evenement nuko ibyavuyemo recommendation zavuyemo zisa n'intambara deturwana no munsi.
This particular event, I'm referring to it because the outcome of that event is what we're fighting.
Commission Vangu yabaye constituée bayituma muri Nord na Sud Kivu kuza kumenya ibibazo bihari nyuma y'intera hamwe XFR fraude buzimaze kwiverse hari hakurya iwacu imiliyoni n'imiliyoni.
Because from that convention or that event, Vangu, people were sent to come to study the areas in North Kivu and South Kivu after the genocide. Interahamwe were in the area.
Muzosoma iyo komisiyo wabashaka kumenya makuru yayo nukuva ku page ya 45 kugeza ku 120 ndagira ngo ni document hari igifaransa bazasoma igifaransa.
So I refer you to read the document which describe everything that happened.
Ubwo baraje babona amakushe yose amoko yose.
So the people who were sent came and visited everyone.
Ariko cyantangaje muri iyo nakuyemo amajambo atatu yantangaje gushika ubu nyine cyatumye mvuga ngo niyo nibara tubanka bavuga bukeye.
So there are a few things that surprised me because, and I'm going to come back to it.
Abafurero, ababembe, abavira ndetse n'abashi.
The Bafulero, the Bavira and the Bashi.
Basouleve inquiétude bose zitatu.
All of them pointed out, all of them together.
Bavuze ko ibibazo bafite ari impunzi za 59.
They all say that they have an issue with people, refugees from.
Umwami Rambi waravuga ngo ibibazo bafite na abanyarwanda baje muri 50 entre parenthèses abita abanyamurenge.
And they all say that the only issue that is in the area is the Banyamulenge or the Rwandan who fled.
Muri ibyo bitatu navuze ariko iyo komisiyo yanga kwakira abanyamurenge. Bari amuze Milere bari bahari.
And the commission refused to receive the Banyamulenge people to hear from them.
Ariko bakira komite za XFR n'intera hamwe aho zari ziri zose barazakira.
But chose to accept and listen to the XFR who were the interact.
Recommendation zavuye muri commission Mvangu kwari ukuvuga ngo turabasabye ngo mwirukane abanyamurenge.
So that commission was very focused to chase the Banyamulenge.
Ngo ariko
however
ntibazemera.
They will not accept.
Uko rero kuvuga ngo ntibazabyemera nuko bari bazi ko turengana. Ugende muzoyisome muzobisanga mu niyo tuvuze ngo tubirukane tugerageze kubakura ruguru kuva mu biyogobogo na Minembwe n'ahandi commission mufate strategy zose zishoboka ntibazatwemerera.
So the commission decided that they would have to chase all the Banyamulenge out, but they knew that this would be very difficult.
Aho kwemera ngo bave iri iwabo bazorwana bashiri.
And they knew that before the Banyamulenge accept to leave the mountains, they will have to fight.
Bamuze Manase yari abakora memorandum barayiba deposit turazigirizo za memo. Ni gute mwoza kureba ibibazo by'abantu bari hano muri Uvira na Fizi na Bukavu mukanga kwakira lezakize ni uko bose ni twebwe ariko basidaka.
So, and people were asking themselves, how could you come to hear from the populations and you fail to speak to those who are being.
Ndakeka ko batari bazi ko bakiri intera hamwe ariko komisiyo tumaze kubona ibitabo dusanga bakiriye delegation z'intera hamwe.
Nobody knew that they have received this commission from
kandi muri iyo komisiyo ababembe bavuze ko n'abapfurero ko hari training ikomeye cyane y'abanyarwanda mu Rubirizi n'iy'abarundi mu Ruvunge ati bafite training nini ico dusabira ziriya mpunzi no kubakorera amatoilette meza ariko ico mwebwe tubasaba nka guverinoma y'Kinshasa mutwirukanira abanyamurenge.
So they asked the government to care for the refugees that were in Sange, but all the other population asked that all Banyamulenge be kicked out.
Umuntu akibaza ngo icyatumye bavuga ngo niyo tubabwiye gutyo nimudafata ingamba n'ibikoresho bikomenti bazabyemera wese wo kwibaza ngo niki cyatumye bavuga gutyo muzoyisome muzobisangamo.
So all of those strapped warn the government, they say you need to come with heavy artillery because these people will not accept it.
Icyatumye bavuga gutyo nuko bari bazi ko murengana.
And they say that it would be difficult to chase you out. They knew that you were being falsely accused.
Bari bazi ko ni twari tubarenganya abangaba nibave hano duturane na zino ntera hamwe n'abantu ba FDLR baje kuba hani wacu.
So they were aware that they were being falsely accused, but they were okay to live with the internal.
Muri ya decision yasohotse muri 1995 ivuga ibiryo kutunyaga ubwene gihugu naho ngaho byari byavuye mu ma differente commission y'ama communauté ababembe abapfurero n'abavira nico cifuzo bari batanze muri Kinshasa.
So they even had a wish to remove nationality from our people. It came from all those.
Nabiriya Rwabanji buriya yavuze ibyanditse ibyo amategeko yasohoye.
So they were going by what was written in those conventions.
Ako karengane rero kuvuga ngo ntibazemera kurengana umuntu yo kwibaza ngo niziye mpamvu nuko bazi ko hari haruguru ari wacu.
They knew very well that mountain in Muleke
basogokuru barahabatanze ari abapfurero ari ababembe nta numwe wadutanze iri ya ruguru.
They knew that our forefathers were there first before even.
Uriyo tugiye ku kibazo cya autochtone bakunze kuririmba cyane kitaba no muri constitution ya Congo
when they refer about the being autochtone in the area.
Muri autochtone ni siribaze ya territoire yiwanyu iyo bavuze ngo uri mu autochtone iwanyu nti wo kumbura muri Bazayire uzokumbura ku Mugogo uzokumbura mu Gahwera uzibuka mu Rurambo uzibuka mu Minembwe uzibuka mu Ibogobogo umuntu ofet autochtone ni iwanyu ni hariya kwa baso na basogokuru na basogokuruza.
Autochtone is the land where your forefathers.
Kandi muri kariya gace rero ntabwo bakadutanzemo.
And we were there before them.
Basogokuru hariya bahikiwe n'intare kugira ngo bahabe.
Our grandparents had to even fight.
Nta muryango udafite abapfuye kugira ngo babe hari haruguru.
A lot of people have families who died while fighting.
Tidufite umwanya wo kuvuga amazina y'abantu baguye hariya basogokuruza kugira ngo tubone uko tuhaba.
We cannot list all the names of people who.
Ariko ntangirira bukeya reka dutangirire muri 64.
So let's start.
Ya jambo bavuze ngo ntibazemera.
The word which they say that they
nyuma yo guterwa muri ribaye muri 64
in 1964
mwakoze kuntwari mushishikarori.
I heard you mention Mushishikarori.
Bamaze kubona ko bidakunda.
After they've seen that this will be not an easy.
Baravuze ati duhaguruke tuje kwitega igitero tureke gushira nti tuzovana iwacu.
So the people say that we're not going to stood and watch while we're being killed.
Uwo munsi yapfanye no
because they saw that the population, everyone cannot be killed.
Nyuma y'ubwo ngubwo mu Bibogobogo habayeho umugano.
In Bibogobogo
nawe yageze Baraka na Rupande ise wa Pastor Emmanuel nibo bagiye muri leta babasaba uburyo kugira ngo baswe kandi bazamura abantu bari bashize.
Some people got together.
Abona bari dazi tutazibagirwa na rimwe n'abayero tutazibagirwa na rimwe.
Those people went to plea to the government.
Mu Minembwe abona babwiye bamaze gufa abo bakarani muze karani bapfuye ba Rupembwe bapfuye bande bapfuye abagabo barateranye mu Minembwe ati turagira gute ko tudafite uko turwana n'abantu bantu.
So after so many people had died, men got together and went to.
Mu bagabo bari bagihari basigaye inzambona je nk'intware barimo ba Pasteur Murondanyi.
Some of the people that are still alive, like Pastor
Murondanyi, Ndabagoyi, Sema barabara barahaguruka baragenda bava mu Minembwe mu ijoro baseruka Baraka kuja gutaka.
Men went from Minembwe and went down to Baraka to.
Bumvaga badashobora guhangana n'abafite imbunda ariko nibura reka barebe uko basura kandi gukiza ubwoko baje gutabaza.
Because they saw that they could not confront people with guns, so they went down to see.
Aho kwari ukwanga ko bava iwacu.
Those acts are acts to refuse to die and to live.
Komisiyo mvanga imaze gukora biriya bamuze milere bamaze kwandika bamaze gusakuzana marehemu rukeno rwa
So after the convention of Vangu, some men stood up.
habaye intambara hari habaye amahoro make cyane ashoboka. Decision imaze gusohoka bimiriye bari abasaza kutagurisha inzu, kutagurisha inka, abe no kubagarira inzu yawe. Kwakubura bonyine barabibazizaga.
So after the
sinzi nimba mubizi. Muze yaraje kubivuga bigeze gufunga abagore ngo bakubuye kwa budederi.
People were deprived and were even
inzu si yawe n'ubutaka si ubwawe n'ubwa leta.
They could not sell anything. They were told that the land isn't theirs, it's for.
Abaguruka banze ko dushira barimwo ba ero rukenurwa.
Those who stood and refused that would be terminated. Among them are.
Dwaye twibuka no munsi bose babumbiye muri Michel.
So all of those who stood and fight, we all see them through Michel Lukunda.
Ntambara 96 iraba.
The war in 50.
Abayirwanye ko ndabona hano imbere yanjye. Ico barwaniraga cyose bari abapfuye kiriyagiye kwarukira ngo tutavi wacu.
So all of those were fighting so that we may survive and not be exterminated.
98 iraba.
And 59 came.
Buriya fega kunzi yabanje kunegosiya nabo bari kumwe ngo bareke kurwana. Abari hano bo bitangaho ubuhamya.
Before the fight, Gakunzi had started to see if they could broker peace before fight.
Ariko kubera ko batabishaka bamurashe ahatega amaboko ngo tureke kurwana.
And he was killed while raising his hands up.
Izo ni twari tutazibagirwa na rimwe mu buzima bwacu.
These are our heroes that we remember today.
Bari abantu bacu bose bapfuye navuze muri ayo mwanya utandukanye kugeza mu Gatumba.
All of those people that I've mentioned up to Gatumba.
Niyo batumye havuka twirwaneho. Iyo ngiyo yatangiye kuri Mushishi kugeza kuri ngiyo turi mu no munsi.
This is the Twirwaneho that we speak about. That's why the Twirwaneho movement continued to exist.
Tugiye ku ntambara iyi turimo yatangiye ku minsi 10 mu kwezi kwa 4 2017 tugiye kwiza imyaka 9.
So the war which started in April
bayitangiye murabyibuka mwese bayi bavuga ngo batujane wacu Rwanda itangira n'abamayimayi.
All of you remember that the Maimai
leta yishi nyuma.
And the government was behind the
Maimai ngo imare kunanirwa leta ije hanze.
And when the Maimai failed, the government came out in open.
Kandi ubwo bariko bananirwa bamwe muri izi ntwari zitarahaguruka yuko bagerageje gutwika imihana bakahunga bakaja mundi bagahunga bakaja mundi kugeza igihe Lieutenant General Michel abasanga.
And they were burning villages, and though they failed, before some of our heroes had already been on our way to go and help those who were fighting for themselves.
Uno munsi rero nuguha agaciro abapfuye banga ko twicwa uko Imana yaturemye.
So today we gather to remember those who stood and refused that we may be killed.
No kwibaza muri twebwe ngo se bariya ko bapfuye kandi bakadusiga ku kivi twebwe turakora iki?
So we need to ask ourselves, those who have died for the greater goods of everyone here.
Eske umukingo uhagazemo umuntu azakora neza muri interior yacu mu mutima wacu ibyo twumva ngo duprotege ubwoko tubikora neza.
So ask yourself, are you playing your part to join in this fight?
Gushika uno munsi icyo bashaka no kuturimbura.
Until today, the main purpose is to
kandi twakoze uno munsi ukwibuka intwari muzi dufite ibiriyo byinshi cyane muhira.
And you are very aware that we have so many funerals going around.
Umusibo ejo hari umugabo w'umutwari wabonye ibyabaye amutima urahagarara arapfa mu Minembwe.
There's a man who saw what was happening in Minembwe just
recently. Ko turi muri situation zikomeye cyane kurushirizaho.
So we're losing a lot of people just.
Ariko uko zimeze Michel yasize yubatse umusingi udashobora gusenyuka none.
But despite all of what's going on, Michel Rukunda had built a foundation.
Inkingi zishinzwe muri iyo foundation ni mwebwe.
So the foundation which he started is made by you.
Abari kuri Yambere ni bari abaturushije ubutwari bakagenda bakajayo.
So those who are at the front line are up there.
Abari kuri linye za kabiri ni za gatatu ni mwebwe hano muri mukugira icyo mukora kugira ngo nibura bari abone uko baba.
So behind the front line, it is you who are supporting and helping them continue the fight.
Nutiba bukeya ukarekura umukingo uhagazeho tuzoshira.
So if you get distracted even just a little bit.
Kandi ni dushira bari bose bapfuye dufite ibihumbi. Harabaza bandika badufite ibihumbi byazize ko banze byazize ko birenganura.
And we know that we have thousands of
abo bantu bazaba bafiriye iki.
So we cannot let their death be
kuki kuva bafashe iyo decision tutahagurutse ngo tugisige ariko se tugisige tuje hehe hariya ni iwacu
we cannot leave the land because that's our home.
gakondo tituzoyivamo
We will never leave our homeland.
bariya bose amaraso yose yamenetse yarahameneka ngo tuzoreke kuva hariya
So, and we have to understand that
no kurashe ukareka umukingi nuguhemukira intwari nka ba Michel.
So if we surrender, if we forsake them, we'll be forsaking. We cannot forsake those who were at the front line, those who are.
Mukuba mugufi ntarambiranye.
So that I may be brief.
Mukomere.
Take heart. Be comforted.
Mukomere kandi muhaguruke turwane.
Be comforted by.
Twange ko dupfa.
So we can fight.
Twange ko dushira.
We have to refuse.
Twange ko iwacu washira.
We have to fight for our.
Tuje muri ideologie ya General Michel.
We need to follow their path.
Tuje muri ideologie y'abariya bose logique yabo y'abariya bose banze gusiga iwacu bakamena amaraso yabo hari.
To follow through the steps and follow their ideology who stood up and refused to die.
Mukomere.
So take heart.
Mureke gucika intege.
Do not be discouraged.
Yuko mu rugambi yo mucitse intege muratsindwa.
Because when you're discouraged, you may even
ubundi kandi abamaze kwitaba bose nibirya yavuze ngo ni igitambo cavuye mu muryango.
And all of those who have died, these are the sacrifice from families.
Ni sacrifice. Message yewe yanyuma yaravugaga ngo iki gihugu tuzokigura amaraso y'agaciro gakomeye.
These are the sacrifice. He even mentioned it. He said we will have to give a greater sacrifice so we can live in the land.
Tureke gutwarwa n'ibituriho.
Let's not be distracted with what's going on.
Tuhaguruke dukore tuzotsindira ya rugamba.
Let's stand up all together so we can fight and survive.
Murakoze.
Thank you.
Arakoze cyane ku kiganiro cyiza tugejejeho.
For great words that he shared.
Mu ncamake abashe gukora ku bizagiye bitubaho.
He just summarized some of the things, some of the events that happened in our lives.
Tumaze rero akanya twicaye ndagira ngo tubaze umuhanzi Frank niba ari hafi.
We've been sitting down for a while. Let's ask Frank.
Niba ari hafi yatambuka afite ibihangano bye aza kutugezaho hanyuma tuze kumva ine gahunda ikurikiraho.
Murakoze cyane ndabasuhuje. Ndagira ngo mbasabe ku bw'icubahiro tugomba intwari zacu, ndaza kubasaba kubw'urukundo twamukundaga no kubw'icizere yadusigiye byaduteye kwandika indirimbo tugiye kuririmba. Ndifuza ko tuyiririmbana twese duhagaze n'amabuje dufite, cyangwa se urashaka gukoresha telefone bitewe na message iri mu ndirimbo tuze kuyacana nk'urumuri rw'icizere. Murakoze, Imana ibahe umugisha. Dufatikanye. Yes. Shaka gukoresha buje cyangwa ugakoresha telefone baze kudufasha bagabanye amatara kugira ngo idufashe. Murakoze. Yes.
nawe icuraburindi urabuditse ariko humura ufite isezerano zabashumbusha imyaka yariwe n'inzige gakondo nasezeranye basogokuruza zayibaha muhumure bwoko bwawe murenge humura ufite isezerano
Generale makanika uzahora mu mitima yacu ntituzibagirwa imirimo wakoreye ubwoko bwacu murenge humura ufite isezerano murenge humura ufite isezerano amarira turira ni menshi agahinda ni kenshi ariko murenge we humura murenge humura murenge humura murenge humura ufite isezerano humura sinamutaye humura sinakwibagiwe mucimo c'umwijima uzaniye umuco humura sinamutaye humura sinakwibagiwe mucimo c'amarira uzaniye
tuzabona intwari z'umurenge zishwe zizira uko zaremwe zishwe zizira ubwoko tuzabona murenge humura tuzabona generale rukunda michel makanika wabaye agakiza k'umunyamurenge wabaye agakiza k'ubwoko wabaye agakiza ka gakondo tuzabona koloneli musore tuzabona boneri tuzabona mugunda tuzabona mungura tuzabona ruboneka n'abandi bose bishwe kugira ngo umunyamurenge abeho bishwe kugira ngo tudatakaza gakondo imbuto mwasize mubivye zirimo gushibuka murenge urakabaho humura murenge ejo ni heza
humura sinamutaye
arakoze umuhanzi Frank.
We thank Frank.
Abaye nk'uzamura amarangamutima y'abantu.
I know he's touched on some people's emotions.
Atwibukije byinshi mu ndirimbo ngufi cyane.
He just reminded us a lot about events going on.
Umaze kuvuga Mzee David Banoge.
Mzee David Banoge.
Yagumye kuvuga Honorable Mirelle Ruhimbika.
He came back to Yambere.
Byumvikana ko hari icyo yamuteguriraga kuza kutugezaho.
So that he was preparing him to bring us the next speech.
Mzee rero ndagira ngo tubuhakanya.
So let's welcome him, Mzee.
Ubwira ico ubwira abateraniye hano.
So you can pass your remarks.
Ndavuga amagambo magufi cyane.
I'm going to be very brief.
Kuko umwanya ni kungana.
Because we don't have a lot of time.
Kandi ibintu byinshi turabizi.
And I know that we know a lot of what we're talking about.
Aha twaje kunama, twaje kwibuka intwari zacu.
We are here just so we can remember our heroes.
Nibindi bisigaye bivugwa ku YouTube abantu bakabyumva no kandi birananditse.
And I know many things are shared through YouTube and other social media.
Kambe ngongera ku magambo make umushakashatsi David Banoge yavuze gatoya nongera kuzo yavuze gusa.
Let me just add a little bit to what Mzee David shared.
Kubyerekeye buryo twirwanaho yatangiye kwirwanaho kwaca abanyamurenge kwatangiye.
On how Twirwaneho started.
Kuko mbega ni ibintu byabaye kenshi.
It's something that occurred many times.
Bikorwa na benshi.
It was
Nico kamwe kagiye kabaha kuko bamwe birwanaga mu gice bari baherereyemo.
And some people were fighting for themselves in
Pero
areas where they lived.
Mu gihe kimwe muri 66
At some point in 60,
abanyamurenge batangiye kunyagwa ibintu byabo hariya mu Bibunda.
when properties were
haje abasirikare ba leta barimwo ababirigi.
Government soldiers came, including
abo babirigi barimo umusirikare umwe witwa Giparapara.
And there were Belgians, and there was someone called Giparapara.
Uyu Giparapara niwe waformye niwe wigisha abanyamurenge bwa mbere kwirwanaho.
This person Giparapara is the founder of Twirwaneho.
Yarakurikira ibindi bintu umunyarwanda witwa Rukeba yakoze inganje nibatibeshe.
He was following a model that a Rwandan person in Ghana.
Uyu Giparapara w'umubirigi niwe wigisha bitwa ba Rubondo.
So this Giparapara taught Rubondo.
Yigisha bakagweba.
He taught Kagweba.
Yigisha babitwenge.
He taught Bitwenge.
Bitwenge ndahizwa.
Bitwenge ndahizwa.
Yigishwa bandagiro ndaguzwa.
He taught Ndagiro.
Yigisha bagipiro ruvunzi.
And taught Gipiro ruvunzi.
Abo ngabo kandi bashoboye no gukora amagambo yo kwirwanaho bagarura ibintu byabo zari maze kunyagwa.
And these individuals were able to fight for themselves.
Ibindi nibiriya yavuze reka nkomeze.
So let me continue.
Rero kubera kuko ibyo baduhaye kuvuga amagambo amwe.
Because we were given to
baduhaye kuvuga teme imwe byerekeranye.
Been given to speak about a same.
Uriya mugabo we no mushakashatsi cyo gituma ari wabivuze.
I know David is a researcher.
Rero mu magambo mvuga zaza ngenda sa nuhawe simba bugufi. Kubera kuko sinshuraga gusubira muzo yavuze.
I don't want to go back to what he
ariko reka mbanzirize kuri aya magambo yibanze mbwira isi.
So I'm going to start to tell the world.
Ndabwira twebwe abanyamurenge turi ahangaha.
So I'm not telling these specifically abanyamurenge.
Amagambo nkatatu mbwira isi yayitwumva.
About 3 words I want to tell the world.
Hari iwacu hari intambara imwe.
Back home there's not only one.
Mu burasira bwa Kongo hari intambara imwe.
In Eastern Congo there's not only one.
Hari intambara zitatu.
There's 3 kinds of war.
Hari iriya iwacu yabanje.
There's the war that started.
Jewe ndi mubagiye ruguru hamaze gusha kuri mbunda mu gatanze gusha.
I'm actually among those who went up in Minembwe.
Iriya ni intambara yaje tugana twebwe abanyamurenge.
It's a war that was brought to Banyamulenge.
Kandi ni kuriya babivuze kwari ukuvuga ngo murafasha mu muji wanyu.
And it was about are you going to die or are you going to go?
Murahitamo gufasha mu muji wanyu.
Are you going to choose to die or are you going to go back?
Aya magambo ko ndavuga ndahaye mbesha.
I'm going to say this and I'm not going to.
Ko ndavuga amagambo yavuzwe n'abaza babikora.
I'm saying words that were being spoken about.
Nuwona bihakana abahaye yirengagiza.
And whoever may refute these words.
Iyo niyo ntambara twebwe tureba cyane abanyamurenge kandi yatujahaje yatwishe.
This is a war that really hurt us Banyamulenge.
Ituma babasore n'abana bacu abagore n'abandi basanze bagumaga kwirwanaho nk'abarya David yavuze n'abamaze kuvuga.
It's a war that enabled Banyamulenge individuals to fight for themselves.
irindi jambo ntabwo abanyamurenge baharara.
And there's one thing, Banyamulenge never started.
abanyamurenge ntibazaharira abandi baturanyi babo ngo banyagira ibintu byabo.
Banyamulenge never started any war.
niyo twonesheje umurima tugerageza kumvikana n'abandi duturanye.
Even though when cows go into the
rero ntabwo tunyaga ibintu by'abandi ngo byatwagaye.
we don't really start any fight or cause any war.
ariko twebwe tuzira ikintu kimwe gusa.
But us, we usually fall from.
turwanira kubaho gusa.
We always fight to survive.
titurwanya leta ya Kongo.
We don't fight against the government.
abanyamurenge ntibafashe ingwaro ngo bakureho Tshisekedi.
Banyamulenge never took arms
ngo bakureho Kabila cyangwa bakureho Kabila cyangwa uwundi muntu.
Or Kabila or any other leader.
tibifuzaga kuvuga ngo aribo baje mu kibanza cy'abategetsi.
It's not in their wish to be the leaders.
ibyo bakora ni ukwirwana kugira ngo babeho.
All they do is to fight so they can survive.
hariho ingorane nyinshi muri Kongo cyangwa muri Afurika.
There's so many issues in Africa.
ariko turi ubwoko bumwe bwihariye kuvuga ngo reka turwande kubaho kuishi. sinzi ko ndabura uko mbivuga ngo mbeho ndeke gupfa mbeho.
It's very difficult to even
nta yindi nyungu duteze inyuma y'ibyo.
We don't seek any other interest.
abanyamurenge barashaka gusa ngo babeho.
Banyamulenge only fight so they can survive.
iyo nuko barashaka ngo babeho nk'abandi bantu bahumeke.
They just want to live.
abaragira baragire.
Those who have
abahinga bahinge.
take care of them. Those who
abaje ku ishuri baje ku ishuri.
go to school.
abakora amakwe bayakore.
Those who get married may do that in peace.
nico abanyamurenge baharanira.
That's what Banyamulenge are fighting.
cyo nyine gusa. ariko isi zitwita ngo turi abantu bakomeye kandi tworoshe.
But the world has been labeling us as
niba ibintu mwerekanye hanga mukerekana abasore bacu bambaye neza b'abasirikare abasirikare batwirwaneho.
And some of the images that we've seen, you may think that we're armed.
sinakuriya bameze kuko bambaye amahuza acafuye atameze kuriya.
The pictures might be showing it very well, but
isi yo ifata abanyamurenge kuko ari abantu bakomeye.
the world today is considering Banyamulenge
ndetse ikabahindura kuko ari abicanyi bica abandi abica yandi mwoko.
and the world is labeling Banyamulenge as killers who are killing other tribes.
reka hariko ndaje gutinda reka mbaheze umufano ngo umugabo umwe wambwiye ejo bundi hano muri Amerika.
Let me give you an example of a man who shared the word.
bari bafashe umuntu w'umunyamurenge ukunyine babagenda bafata ngo abantu badafite impapuro basijane babasubiza iyo baja.
And Munyamulenge was arrested here in America about to be deported.
nuko rero baje kubwira umuloya.
And they approached the lawyer.
aya n'amagambo yabaye hari Texas.
This happened in Texas.
ngo bashike babwira umuloya bati umuntu wacu bagiye kumusubiza kandi n'umunyamurenge nasubira muri Kongo baramwica.
And other Banyamulenge told the lawyer, hey, if this person is
wa mugabo w'umuloya ati umunyamurenge naje muri Kongo baramwica.
And the lawyer was asking if this Munyamulenge
konza mburanira abandi banyekongo bihumbi hano basinze ndetse abajije babahaye kuba hano bahunga abanyamurenge muri Kongo.
So what are you saying? Because I know a lot of people who fled Congo.
ayo magambo nabwiwe n'umunyamurenge byabaye mu mayinga biratambutse.
This was said.
umve rero uburyo ibintu zabaye inverse zaracuriswe.
Things have been put in inverse.
kwebwe abishwa nitwe twahinduwe abicanyi.
Us who are being killed have been turned into killers.
nuko niko isi idufashe.
That is how the world.
nano muri Amerika hariho abashakashatsi bakomeye bari mu university.
Even the researchers at universities.
baduhinduye babi.
They've converted us into.
ngo nitwe tukorera abandi babi kuruta ibyo badukorera.
And they know that Banyamulenge are the one being the problem and killing.
ayo namagambo ico kintu nakibeshuje rwose.
So let me say that this is.
twebwe nitwe ba victime.
We are the victim.
ariko nitwe bitwa ba buro. twe bitwa abicanyi.
We're being labeled or we're being.
ico kintu nakibeshuje.
So I want.
ayo namagambo nabwiraga isi.
I'm telling this to the world.
kabaza ngo ese nkurikiza umuntu watwisize n'abanyamurenge yagize nabi.
So I'm asking the person who called us Banyamulenge, did he do a bad thing?
ese umuntu wazanye groupement ya bijombo yagize nabi.
Did the person who started the group bijombo?
umuntu wazanye izina ry'abanyamurenge yadukoreye ikintu ciza gitangaje.
The person who named us Banyamulenge did a wonderful thing.
kuko cyaduhesheje identité.
Because it gave us an identity.
n'abarwanya izina ry'abanyamurenge kugira ngo mureke kugira droit au sol mureke kugira iwanyu.
Even those who are fighting against you is because they don't want you to have a land.
bakwime kubaho.
They want to prevent you from.
kandi rero banakwicuza ari umuntu uri mu kirere utagira iwanyu.
And they want you to just be a person who's.
Ariko umuntu wazanye rino zina ry'umunyamurenge yagize neza kutwita abanyamurenge.
But the person who called us Banyamulenge.
Kandi koko rero turi abanyamurenge turabyemera kandi twarabikunze twaranabyakiriye.
Indeed we are Banyamulenge.
Ariko ga rero umuntu rero watwise rino zina ry'abanyamurenge.
The person who called us Banyamulenge.
Reko na hambere twigeze no kubavuga ngo ese ninde wari banjije bamwe ngo ni gisara abandi ngo ni kabarura abandi ngo ni bande.
Some people wonder.
Uwo muntu yakije umuriro rero.
The person, it's like
umuntu watwise ry'umunyamurenge yakije umuriro.
It's like he started a fire.
Umuriro twika.
A fire that burns.
Kuko kibiri mu kintu kimwe bazabatuziza abandi.
Because this is one of the reasons.
Rero niba ukomoka mu muntu witwisa abanyamurenge.
If you come from
haguruka urwana intambara kuko umuriro uri muri barya bawakije wewe.
You stand up to fight because you're among the people.
Igituma batwimaga groupement mu bijombo.
The reason why they were being refused.
Kwari kugira ngo tureke kwerekana ko nako dufite kutume turabanyamurenge tugira iwacu.
Those who were against it, they didn't want us to have a land.
Umuntu rero wazanye groupement mu bijombo yagize nabi.
So the person who started the groupement.
Ariko zaratwicishije.
But that has been one of the reasons that
nyamara nkuko sinzi wabivuze ndagira ngo ni apotre Gitwaza.
I don't know who said it, but I think
isi ntizaguheza ikintu cya politike ku buntu.
The world will never hand you.
Twebwe niko maze kuvuga ndi turwana ngo tuje gukuraho ubutegetsi buhari jamais.
We're not going to fight against regime.
Ariko rero ntibazemera ko tunagira ni wacu.
But they're refusing something so we can have.
Uretse Imana yo mw'ijuru yonyine ari izaturwanirira.
We know that only God will fight on our behalf.
Komeze vuga ngo.
So let me continue by saying this.
Mbere yuko ndangiza.
Before I finish.
Abantu bazabavuga ngo ni mwebwe ni mwange bene wanyu.
People are being told to hate.
Kugira ngo nerekane ko ndi umukompatriote ngomba kukwanga wewe.
So that I could show that I'm a nationalist or someone who loves my country, I need to hate my.
Ngakuvuga nabi wewe.
I need to speak evil about you.
Ariko kuvuga nabi ntibihagije.
But even to say bad things is not enough.
Ngomba no kukwica.
It's also kill you.
Ariko niki kimba guarantee ko nimara kukwica jewe mba.
But what guarantees me that after I've killed you, I'm going to leave?
Reka mbwire abanyamurenge turi muno nabandi banyekongo banumva.
So let me tell you Banyamulenge who are gathered.
En terme ya communauté.
In terms of
tuvuze ngo ama communauté cyangwa imirara.
If we say community.
Ni twebwe twenyine nk'umurara. Ni bari umurara communauté bayita. Ubwoko. Ni twebwe twenyine nk'ubwoko.
It is only our community.
Twebwe twenyine gusa.
Only us.
Kurusha abandi banyekongo bose.
More than other tribes in.
Bahagurutse kurwanira Kongo.
Who have stood up to fight.
Nta bundi bwoko muri Kongo burahaguruka kurwanira Kongo.
There is no other tribe that has.
Niba buhari buzabivuge.
If there is such a tribe,
ntabwo bubaho.
It does not exist.
Twebwe nitwe ba patriote kuruta abandi ba patriote babaho.
Banyamulenge are the true patriots more than any other people.
Uwarega umunyamurenge ko atari patriote.
So whoever says that,
uwo ntabaza amateka ya Kongo.
They don't know the history of Congo.
Uwo ntabaza amateka ya Kongo.
They don't know the history.
Rero timwiyumve mwubwoba.
So do not fear.
Muhumurike kuko igihugu cyanyu muragikunda.
Know that you love your
kandi mwarakirwaniye.
Fight for it.
N'abatemera none ko mwagifiriye ejo bazabyemera.
And those who deny.
Nutanabyemera ntazi hari abantu batazi histoire ya Kongo.
Many people do not know the history.
Umuntu utazi histoire ya Kongo ntakuzamubwira keretse kumurihira Minerval akaja ku ishuri.
There's nothing we can do other than say.
Rero mahoro yamutuma yakajya kwiga akagaruka akabona kumenya ibintu.
Mahoro can send him to school.
Twebwe muri communauté zose zibaho za Kongo.
Among all the communities in Congo.
Kuko ndongera kuzo Chercher Banoge yavuze.
Because I'm adding to what Mzee Banoge said.
Twe bambere barwaniye Kongo.
We are the first to fight for the country.
Kandi bizo bintu Imana ntiyabyibagiwe.
And God will never forget.
Imana irabikunda.
God loves it.
Murakagira Imana.
Rakoze.
Thank you very much.
Gukoma amashi ni icyizere.
When we clap, it's a sign of hope.
Ntihagire uwo biza gukomeretsa wenda kubera ko turiho twibuka.
Do not be offended. We know we are remembering.
Ariko ni sinye icyizere.
It's a sign of hope.
Arakoze cyane mu ijambo rigufata tugejejeho.
We thank you, sir, for your kind words.
Muri ubu buzima rero
in this life,
hari abandi bantu batari abanyamurenge ariko bazi ibyatubayeho.
We have other people who are not Banyamulenge but who understand the struggles of Banyamulenge.
Bakomoka muri iki gihugu.
Who are from this country.
ndagira ngo tuze kumva Dr. Bojana.
I'm going to invite Dr. Bojana.
Okay, bambwiye kuko ijambo rye ritari ryaba hafi.
John is not ready.
Mu kanya ariko turaza kumutegera uwo ni umunyamerika wa hano.
But we're going to invite him later.
Reka rero dukomeze n'amagambo.
Let's continue.
Hari umuntu hano wabanye na Afande Michel mu buryo butandukanye.
Among us here we have a person who lived along with Michel.
Bavugana, baganira, wabaye inshuti ye.
They lived together, they spoke a lot and they
akaba n'umukozi w'Imana.
And he's a servant of God.
Turagira ngo duhamagare Apotre Micho.
Let's invite Apotre Micho.
Aze agira icyo atubwira mu ijambo rigufi.
To come forward and give us his remarks.
Aragira icyo atubwira kuri Afande Michel.
And he will tell us a little about Afande Michel.
Tubanje gutanga mpore ku miryango yose yateraniye hano.
Let me first give my condolences to all the families who are here.
Z'umwihariko umuryango wabyaye intwari yacu n'izindi tutavuze amazina yazo.
In particular the family in which Michel is from and other families.
Nabizi ko igihe kituriza uyu munsi
I know that today
nicyatangiye none cyari kiriho n'igihe cyatambutse
in days that have passed
kandi kiracyafite urugendo rutari rugufi.
and this has been a long journey.
Ariko ko kiradutegura kuzaba agaciro bazifuzwa n'abandi, ko kiradutegura kuba agaciro bazifuzwa n'abandi ejo hazaza.
But I know that the events happening are preparing us to be people who will be desirable by others in the future.
Twaje gufatanya n'abandi bose bari hano kugira ngo tubashe kwerekana umubabaro.
We have come here to join together to show our sorrow.
Ariko kandi no gufatanya ibyiringiro bishobora kuba byohindura ubuzima bw'umubabaro kabifumbire y'ibyiringiro by'ejo z'ubutsinzi.
But to also come in solidarity in hope for a future.
Ndi mu bantu bumvise ijwi rya nyuma rya Marehemu nje bamurashe turimo tuvugana.
I'm among those who heard General Makanika just before he was killed.
Ubwo yaravuye aho ari babanje kurindira kugira ngo ibizuma biri mu kirere bitambuke, avuye yazamuka ampamagara kenshi bangombwa kuko mfata telefone.
He was coming from where they've been waiting for certain equipment to pass.
Ngerageza
me several times and I picked up the phone.
Ngerageza gusa naho tumugira inama ko abanza kubyirinda, ariko avuga ko yarakeneye ko tuvugana.
And I even tried to tell him to be patient and allow some time to pass before he could do anything.
Atararangiza ijambo yarateruye telefone irakatika ntibyakomeza.
And before he finished what he was saying, I heard the phone hang up.
Mugenzi wacu tubana muri ubuzima bwo kwirwanaho.
I have a comrade in this journey of fighting for ourselves.
Niwe wantanze kumenya kuko hari ibyabaye nubwo twaherukanye.
He was the first to know of what had just happened.
Nje nari ko ari telefone yavuyeho gusa bisanzwe.
I thought the phone had just hung up because of signal reasons.
Bivuze ko nanje ndi mu bantu basigaranye inkovu iremereye cya gikomere kiremereye.
Meaning that I'm among those who have a heavy scar after what happened.
Nubwo tutabivuga hanze ngo tubisakuze, ariko kandi turi mu bantu bafite ibyiringiro yuko Makanika ari muzima, ubuzima bwe buri muri twebwe twese, kandi uzadusigiye bifite ubuzima bizamera bikatugeza ku nzozi byo haraniye.
Even though we don't go out saying it out loud, but we are people who have hope and we know that Makanika still lives.
Ngiye kuvuga ibintu bine gusa.
I'm going to mention 4 things.
Igice cya mbere ni intwari ariko ndasima amagambo bayavuze abandi.
The first thing, we know he's a hero, and I know a lot of people already said it.
Intwari nabwo nyine bivuze aravuga ngo n'umuntu ukora iby'abandi bantu bashobora gukora.
And he even gave a definition by himself. He said it's someone who does things that other can do.
Ariko batakoze ku mpamvu runaka zabuje kubikora.
But who are not doing that for some reasons.
Umuntu yabiterwa no gutinya kwanga gusiga ibye.
And sometimes it is people fear to leave their loved ones or their property.
Abandi babiterwa n'ubushobozi bwo kubasha kumva ko aribo bireba kugira ngo abashe kwishira mu bikorwa.
Others feel like they're not responsible.
Abandi bo biguzwa n'abandi kubikora ndetse birashoboka.
And the others may not do it because they think other people will take the responsibility.
Ariko intwari rero ikora birya izi ko abandi batakoze ariko bigomba gukorwa.
But a hero is someone who will do something that others are not doing, but that needs to be done.
Ijambo rya kabiri,
the second word,
intwari ntigira amaso arangiza ibiteye ubwoba.
A hero is not someone who focuses on what seems to be frightening.
Amaso y'intwari igihe cyose arangiza hejuru ibitera ubwoba ndetse harimo n'urupfu.
The eyes are able to go beyond the things that are frightening and death.
Kuko iyo baje gukora ibiteye ibisa n'ibyo ngibyo nizo bakoze ntibabikora bagiye kwiyahura ahubwo babikora bazi ko hirya yabyo hari ubundi buzima bagomba kugezaho abandi bantu.
When they do what they do, it's not because they're going out to commit suicide or anything. It's because they're doing to prepare the future.
Icya gatatu kuri iyo point,
and the third thing,
bakora igikorwa basangiye n'abandi inyungu ariko cyane cyane inyungu z'abandi kuruta iziwe.
They fight for a common purpose, but they fight for a purpose that way beyond themselves.
Icyakane ntakorera gushimwa no mugihe atashimwa arabikora nk'udategereje kubishimirwa.
Number 4, they don't fight so that people can thank them or be.
Umwambaro w'ishimwe rye ni inzozi ze ziba zagezweho zuzuye umutima we.
His main purpose is to see the victory or to be closed in a hope or a victory.
Point ya kabiri ndayisimba ndavuga amagambo abiri.
I'm going to come back to 2 words.
Nuko ubutwari subwo nyine gusa bwabo turimo tuvuga uyu munsi ariko hari imiyoboro myinshi y'ubutwari twakagombye kuba tuvugaho.
Because heroism is not just what we're talking about. There are many things that can make up heroism.
Habe no kuvugaho nyine birashobora kuba byo igikorwa cy'ubutwari ndetse kurutana bafashe imiheto.
Even people who are able to speak or articulate very well, that could be a symbol of heroism.
Nibutse abagabo 12 barimo Yoshua na Kalebu 10 ravuga ngo ntibishoboka ko tuzajayo muri Kanaani.
I remember 12 individuals. 10 of them say that it's nearly impossible that we may go and reach Canaan.
Bavuga n'impamvu ndetse bishobora kuba batogenda.
And they even gave many reasons why they're unable to do that.
Ariko intwari zibiri zirimo Yoshua na Kalebu.
But 2 among them, Joshua and Caleb.
Ubutwari bwabusokera mu magambo bavuze.
And the heroism came from the words that others were saying.
Buhindura imitekereze n'inzozi z'abananiwe barongera kandi basubamo imbaraga bahuza imitekereze urugamba rurakomeza kandi bararutsinda.
The heroism came from the good words that they said and changed everyone else to advance and go.
N'ubu turigisha Yoshua na Kalebu kwera ijambo bavuze ryonyine.
Even today we preach from the words that Caleb and Joshua say.
Navuze by'abandi bakoze ibyasenyutse iwacu biradutegereje ngo byerekane ubutwari bwishe muri twebwe mu gihe turimo twibuka nugira ngo twibaze ngo se niki kindi cyakorwa. Izindi ntwari zishe muri twebwe n'izindi ziri ku misozi zibikurikirana ku cuma nazo zihaguruke zikore biriya byasenyutse birashobora kuranga intwari zikicishe muri twebwe zitarakora.
We know among us there are still many heroes because we know that so many things have been destroyed back home. So that's waiting for heroes to go and rebuild.
Natambuse ngiye ku point rero ya gatatu.
So let me go to the third point.
Ariyo intwari zadusize uyu munsi arimo uyu mugabo turimo tuvuga hano.
I'm going to talk about the heroes that we're talking about here.
Nije natekereje kumwita nashatse izina ry'ikinyamurenge ndaribura
I try to come up with a name to name him.
ariko nshaka kwitiza izina ry'abanyamahanga rivuga ngo ni innovator. Innovator muraza kumfasha ni umuntu urema ibintu.
I try to think of a name to give him, but I came up with the name Innovator.
Byavuye mu magambo natekereje yazamutse ndi mu bantu bake bamenye igihe yazamutse nuko yazamutse.
Because I try to remember the day when he went up the mountains.
Yazamutse ntacyo yitwaje usibye ubuzima bwe n'imitekerereze irangiza hejuru inyuma y'urupfu, inyuma y'imibabaro ikarangiza ubundi buzima abandi batarabitekereza kubikora. Azamuka niyo shusho ariko nta kindi kintu yari yitwaje mu maboko yiwe.
He had nothing when he went up in the mountains. He didn't have anything with him other than just the hope and the vision.
Agezeyo yihangira nta ruganda yari yikoreye, yihangira ibikoresho yakagombye gukoresha kandi bibaho n'ubu nyine ko birakora abana bivuze. Nta ruganda yikoreye ajanye, nta materiel yajanye, ariko ajana uruganda ntabwo ari mu bikoresho gusa. Yasanze n'imitekerereze ikeneye innovation, yasanze imitekerereze iri mu mibande yarahunze, adafite abantu badafite amazu, badafite ubwugamo, ariko ngo ashikafata bwa buzima bwatsinzwe, bwa buzima bwavuye mu ibyiringiro, aburemamwo imbaraga z'imitekerereze no kubabwira ko bishoboka. Uyu munsi birashoboka ko bararwana kandi ko baratsinda.
So even when he arrived, he found people were scattered in vision, in hopes. People were hopeless. But he was able to instill this hope in people, and people stood up and fought again.
Yazamutse izi n'intwari dufite zarwananye n'abandi bari bari mu mazu yabo n'ibikoresho bari bafite n'ubutunzi bari bafite ku misozi, ariko bo yasanze imisozi yacu itakigira ikintu na kimwe twakwishimikirizaho, ariko ashitse arema intabwa zinka bunyine zabaye inka ko zirakamwa.
Upon his arrival, even the land was seemed to be a hopeless place, but he was able to reunite or put people together, and those are the people who are fighting today.
Imisozi yacu ntiyayiretse, yayiremeye icubahiro, irongera kandi iraturwa kandi n'uyu munsi irimo abantu.
He was able to bring back the honor to our mountains, and the villages are not being lived today.
Ni yari intwari gusa ahubwo yari innovator, yari umuremyi w'ibitekerezo, umuremyi w'ibikoresho, umuremyi w'ubuzima bukongera kandi kubaho. Abo na makuru y'ukuri.
He was not just a regular hero. He was an innovator. He was a person who brought back hope into the people.
Tiyarese izo ngizo yaremye n'imitekerereze yo kumenya Imana. Abasore yasanze batazi Imana, n'ahantu yasanze harabaye imisaka. Yaremye imitekerereze ayishikiriza Imana, irongera kandi isabana n'Imana. Imisozi yacu irongera kandi ndetse ayiremamwo ibicyaniro zo guhimbaza Imana yacu n'imitima ibicyaniro zo kumenya Imana. Abasore benshi bamenye Imana, nabyo benshi bongeye kandi kugira icyizere Imana. Ndatambutse iyo point. Ibintu bibiri bisigaye.
There's two things that I still want to mention.
Niki dushobora kwigira ku buzima bw'intwari kugira ngo agaciro kacu ko kwizihiza ubuzima bwabo kabonwe n'abandi natwe katugira akamaro.
What can we learn from this hero?
utamwemera kubona kaga agategwa n'ishagiye gukora urukundo rumwereka ibyiza bishobora kuzana abantu hamwe ndetse mugabo no kubagiza ku nzozi zo kuba mu buzima bwiza usibye Yesu wabikoze abagabo bahisemo neza uyu muhamagaro twabasha kubigiraho ndetse no kubakubitira amashi menshi cyane.
Another character from a hero is love. A love that's able to bring people together.
Kandi bibyara umuco w'abanyamurenge bafite aho bikomora kera cyane bivuze ngo kubibuka kwiza nukongera kandi kuzana iyi character y'abanyamurenge yataka yagaragaye muri makanika n'abandi bari kumwe kugira ngo yongere kandi garuke hafi abanyamurenge duhuze ibitekerezo duhuze umutwe ariko kandi dukundane tunababarirane dutwake ejo hazaza heza afite insho nziza.
So this is something that characterizes Banyamulenge in general, especially from old time. It's to bring it's to have love so that we can come together and achieve more.
Na nja kurangiza
in conclusion,
uretse abanyamurenge twebwe turi hano niki twakora rero?
Us who are here, what can we do?
Kwambara amahuzu yirabura ni byiza mugihe turimo twibuka ngo byerekane ishusho y'ibyo abantu bazi ko ari byerekana kwibuka.
To be dressed in black, it's good to show the event that we're in.
Ariko biba bifite agaciro gake cyane mu gihe tutarimo dushaka kugira ngo twebwe dukora ico twakagombye gukora arico dutahana umunsi twaje kumva amagambo nkaya no kubona imeze ngibi ngibi tumaze kubona ngo twatani nisho twifuza kuba twogeraho.
It's pointless to be dressed in black without sharing the common cause or having the same vision and to look forward into fighting for ourselves.
Aho harimo kurwanya ikitwambura agaciro kacu mu mahanga turimo.
We first have to think to fight something that's taking our values away.
Ataruko dushingiye ku mubare w'ababyumva ariko dushingiye ku mubare w'abyumvise.
Without caring more about the number of people who understand, but just even a few number that understand.
Aho harimo ubuvugizi bwaho ukorera mu kazi ndetse naho wirirwa bakundishe kumenya yuko iwacu hari ibyarenganye bigomba kuba byorenganurwa kugira ngo tuzagere ku nzozi twifuza.
Among these is being able to speak even the places where you work of the injustices so we can go back and rebuild home.
Ubu byaroroshe cyane.
It's easy today.
Twakoresha media.
We can use the media.
Twakoresha ndetse n'inshuti z'amatorero dufite.
We can use our friends from church.
Shoboye tuzabigeraho.
But let me say we're able and we will.
Nangiza rero
in conclusion,
hamwe n'ibyo dufite Imana izadushoboza kubigeraho.
With all of these we have God who will help us.
Dufite n'isezerano ry'icyo tuvuzeho tuzongera kandi tuhature.
We even have promises we will again live in our land.
Ndetse n'abangaba dusembere bazongera baze gushaka y'Imana iwacu n'agaciro kiwacu bazabigiraho ejo bundi.
Even those friends who are here will go and
kuko Imana yacu icyo tuvuzeho kirahenze kandi kizakurikirwa n'abakomeye.
Because what God has said about our lives is greater.
Imana ibahereze umugisha.
May God bless you.
Kandi ntitwuname ngo badafite ibyiringiro tugira ibyiringiro kuko dufite byinshi twize kuri abagabo n'ibyinshi bizavuka kandi bizagira akamaro ubwoko bwacu. Murakoze cyane Imana ibahereze umugisha.
Rakoze cyane turasaba abantu baze kwihangana.
Thank you very much. We're going to ask people to be
turagenda dusatira umusozo.
We're coming close to the end.
Gaston niba ari hano hafi
If Gaston is nearby,
watambuka iminota ibiri ukavuga umuvugo wawe.
let's ask him to come forward and take 2 minutes.
Reka mbanze nihanganishe abantu mwese ndetse nihanganishe ubwoko bwose ku bibazo turimo. Tuzaguma tubivugire mu mivugo kugira ngo bose babimenye. Iki ni igisigo nahangiye General Rukunda Makanika umunsi twumva incamugongo yatashe iwacu Murenge. Incamugongo muri iki gitondo ubwoko bwose imbugita mu nda, imbaraga zikendera habe n'iz'akabando, aho duherereye hose kiziba mu nda. Tuti ikitica kikagira mubi n'agahinda, tuti ninde udukoze mu nda kuwa rutaritse, ninde uduteye intimba nkaho we rutamutegamiye, akatwonera vuba intwari y'ikirenga Makanika. Imfura izira imiziro yanze guhemuka, tuti nuwuhe mubisha udukinzaho aforeye, ariko ntidusobwa. Akatwonera vuba intwari y'ikirenga Makanika, imfura izira imiziro yanze guhemuka, tuti nuwuhe mubisha udukinzaho aforeye, ariko ntidusobwa na nyiri gico aciye. Igihe abanzi bakugoberezaga guteshuka, ukabahenda ugira uti ndaje, ariko ukarenga mu misozi ihanitse, imyambi yaka warayisimbye, unesha amafarashi aguruka ntiwiyahura. Watumaga nk'inyunda batinya, ukitwa munyuzankoni, ukitwa munyoza munyafu, muzimyafumba, ivunzi ubunzemo ryitwaga mwasa nkuba, rugemba mwambi w'impinguranya. Abavuza induru bakarohoka, uzahora uri ubukombe Murenge. Witanze guhera mu buto bwawe, ugandira umugayo wanga kurota urebera kurimbuka kwa gakondo, ngo ukunduramira ubugingo. Witangira ubwoko bwawe kuwaburazwe ukiri urusoro. Wisize iheruheru wanga kwizigama, usiga igihugu, usiga izahabu, usiga n'ibitabashwa. Utangira kurara Rwantambi, uraza imisaya haga, uti sinshobora kurara heza, ubwoko bwanje buraya habi. Abakomeye baguteguriye inzira y'imbusane, muri wewe ukayigorora n'ubwitonzi n'ubuhanga buhanitse. Iyo mu nsariro zawe uti nabereye kwitangira gakondo kugeza ku mutonyi wa nyuma w'amaraso. Rukunda amahoro, rukunda ubwoko, tubabajwe nuko watabarutse bwangu. Amarira n'agahinda bitangira kuvugisha imfura z'Imurenge, abasizi n'abahanzi bategwa n'imvugo z'agahinda. Tuti vyenda ntitwakubarayeho bihagije, tuti wenda ntitwaguhishe amatoroshi y'ababisha ngo batagusheganya, usarire nta gisahuranwa uwawe vuba nk'umwanzi we. Umwenge w'Imurenge ati ntakigema hababaza nk'umubisha. Dutangira kuvuga amagambo y'amaganya, tuti none se Mana y'Imurenge itagira amagawa, gituma waduhaye utoranyije iyi ntwari y'umukiranutsi idasize umugayo, none ukabushimye kwinyakura vuba na bwangu. Tuti tuba waravuniye ya myambi w'umubisha mu kirere, tuba waratatanyije ubwumvikane bwabo ntibumvikane, tuba warasenyaguye imibare ya kiriya kigenza butindi kikahashika Makanika yinyakuye. Useruka imuhira hacuza inkumbi. n'intumbi n'umwotsi. Ibisi by'inka bari babitemaguye baracoca umwerera ntawe abana baherukaga mu matama yabo. Tuzahora tukwibuka. Wagandiye itegeko ry'abasenyi kubw'indahiro, wakunze Murenge urasanira kwirenganura, ntiwareka ngo amaraso yawe anyanyagire ku muhanda, ahubwo anyanyagira ku misozi y'Umurenge. Muvu w'amaraso waratemba uvuga nk'ibyaberi ati sinzarota mbona guhora, kuko umuheto wacu uhora ufoye. Ugiye tugifite ikizinga, ugiye udafite ikizinga muri twe, ndetse no kubashaka kumva no kubaho. Imanshi mu minsi ya nyuma utangira kuja udususurutsa ukaducira imigani, kumbe n'amarenga y'uko ugiye kurenga. Twe tukagira tuti n'ubucurabwenge bw'intwari tugitindana, naho wuhiraga bwa nyuma amaboko uteye azahagarare bwuma. Gakondo urahigwa kubw'umuvu w'amaraso ya General Makanika ndetse n'ay'abato batwigwane bose yatembye mu misozi y'Umurenge, akavumera amahoro ngo no mu bihe bizoza kizire gakondo tizavirirana. Intwari yacu tuzahora tuyibuka.
Rakoze Gaston.
Thank you, Gaston.
Hari umuntu wakoze ikiganiro mu 2023.
There's someone who gave an interview in 2023.
Bamubazaga ibiriho bibera iwacu.
And was being asked about what's happening back home.
Agiye gusubiza kuko byari biremereye.
And when he was about to answer the question,
arababwira ngo Minembwe haranyerera.
And say that in Minembwe, it's slippery in Minembwe.
Iryo jambo nkuze kuryumva ku Murage buri gihe mu Minembwe haranyerera.
I continue to hear this from Murage TV that in Minembwe it's slippery there.
Ndagira ngo akakanya duhereze Mama Adele Kibasumba.
Let's welcome Mama Adele Kibasumba.
Atugezeho ijambo yateguye ry'uyu munsi.
She's going to give us her remarks.
Umwanya ni wawe.
Ndabasuje mwese. Ndifuza gutumira missionnaire Charles Mungura aramfasha gusobanura.
May I ask missionary Mungura to come?
My name is Adele Kibasumba. I speak Kinyamulenge fluently or Kinyarwanda fluently. But I am intentionally speaking English in a very big gathering of Banyamulenge community here in the Dayton, Ohio. Because many of the stories that you are hearing, many of them, 99% of them know about it. But we do have some friends. I see some faces of Americans who are new to this gathering and would like to hear straight from English to English. I know you guys took a great time of your life just like to sit here morning until evening to hear our stories, so it's only fair that we at least do this in English once. Also, there are many Banyamulenge Congolese youth here who are not as fluent in Kinyamulenge as as many of people who are sitting here, who are here. Am I lying? We have so many of them. And the death of our hero, Michelle Makanika, has mobilized millennium, but mostly Gen Z, even Gen Alpha. Am I lying? Na Gen Alpha nukuvuga abana bafite nk'imyaka 8, 9, 10 no kugeza no ku 13 n'ine gutyo.
Abana b'imyaka 13 guhera ku myaka 13 abona aba Gen Alpha n'abagenzi kuva ku myaka uzabusubira hejuru.
Abo rero nibo bamakanika bazaza.
Abo nibo bamakanika dutegereje. Abo bamakanika z'abaweni.
So yagiye, so tugomba gutangira gukomeza kubaka legacy yiwe.
He's no longer with us, but we're building his legacy.
And so mbere ntaratangira kuvuga,
before I begin to speak,
mu Kinyamurenge reka nsabe famille ya General Rukunda Makanika.
I would like to ask the family of Makanika,
mu byubahiro byanyu tubahaye pole.
Your honor, we just give condolences.
Abari hano n'abari ahandi hose.
Those who are here and those who are far from here.
Hari abarimo kudukurikira online already, babizi tubahaye.
Following online and those who are texting, we just extend our condolences to you.
Hari yindi famille ya General.
There is another family of General Makanika.
Itari hano.
Is not with us here.
Iri ruguru.
They are on the field in Yambere.
Iyo ni Kwigwaneho.
Those are Twigwaneho.
Abo nibo bana biwe nyuma ya famille yanyu munsi yanyu.
They are the children of General Makanika as well.
Abo nabo ntabwo turi kumwe nabo hano.
They are not with us now.
Aho muri,
wherever they are,
mu kazi murimwo,
the work that you're doing,
turabakunda,
we love you,
turabubaha,
we honor you,
turi kumwe namwe,
we are with you,
kugeza ku mutonyi wa nyuma.
to the end of the last drop of our blood.
Rero reka nje muri my remarks.
Let me switch again.
I'd like to thank Papa Banoge David, Honorable Miller, Honorable Miller. They talked about the genesis of Banyamulenge struggle. I believe they are the second generation of the struggle. And I think I am the third or the fourth generation of the struggle. And when I speak, I'm not only speaking for me, I'm speaking for many people in my generation. Many of the Banyamulenge who are in this room came here as refugees. They fled the same plot. Different time, different places, but same plot. For my generation, we survived the Gatumba massacre in 2004. This is after we had been forced to flee our homes in Uvira. We crossed the border to the nearest town of Gatumba in Burundi. We were housed in a UN peacekeeping camp that was tasked to protect us and our families. But after 3 months, the camp was attacked, and many people lost their lives. And from there, the US decided that they needed to resettle many of the survivors to the US. For my family, we were resettled in New York, in Rochester, New York. And Dayton has a big majority of them here. but also in all the 50 states. And many other Banyamulenge who survived other massacres in different time, before Gatumba and after. The US really increased the numbers of the Banyamulenge to resettle in the US. Because it is a community that is targeted in the DRC. And so we are here. Fast forward in 2019, most people here were just minding their business, building their families. When again the targeting of Banyamulenge who were remaining in the whole plateau, this is in the outskirts of Uvira mountains. This is originally where the Banyamulenge come from. We're being targeted again. And so this is where my life begins with the Lieutenant General Lukunda Makanika. We are different in age, but same struggle. He was working. He was a colonel in the government forces. I was here as a mother with my second born child. I was a nurse. Like many of people here were also doing the same thing. Like how Michelle was in a different province serving the country. And so when the targeting happened in the whole plateau, there was no gathering like this. There was no meeting, there's no strategic meeting that happened. Everyone felt that they needed to do something. For him, he left the military and went to defend the people. That's what he knows. And for us, what did we have? Some income. So we need to organize to be with people who are being targeted in the DRC. At that time, I was leading the community organization. And so we needed to organize and help people in a humanitarian way. And when he arrived there, it was not a direct I guess link with it. No. Ntabwo twakoranye ngo tuhuze umugambi. Yagiye yitumye kubera ko umutima we wamutumye gutabara. N'abanyamurenge bari muri diaspora nabo barebye uko babigenza. Niho twakomeje umugambi wo kwigwanaho nk'uko ababyeyi bacu mbere batubwiye mu mateka. So this is the third generation yo kwigwanaho. And so niyo mpamvu navuze ngo reka tubwire fourth and the fifth generation yo kwigwanaho mu Cyongereza. Abantu bazaba bafite uburyo bwabo bwo kwigana icyo gihe, ariko tugomba kubabwira amateka. And so nagiriwe umugisha mwinshi wo kuba muri iyo generation yo kwigwanaho. Iyi ntwari muri icyo gihe nayo ihagurutse kuvuga ngo igwane ku bwoba. Ukuntu yagiye, ukuntu yoganizinze abasore kugira ngo bagwane ku babyeyi, uriya mwuka wiwe, spirit ya Makanika, the spirit of his name is not Makanika. His name is Michelle Rukunda Makanika. Sorry, Michelle Rukunda. And alias is Makanika. It really means he's a mechanic. It means mechanic, and then in Kinyamurenge we kind of twisted and said mechanica. As you said, he went empty-handed. He did not take anything from the armed forces. He just said, I could not stand this. I could not sit here, get paid, having a colonel in the armed forces, while my parents, my aunts, my nephews being killed. And so when he got there, he became a mechanic to engineer the youth, to organize them, to say before they could kill your wife, you have to defend them first. And so, like the previous speakers had said in the previous sessions, all the armed groups in the region formed an alliance against us, against Banyamulenge, and they were all supported by the government. And we are the minority, mind you. And you have all the other tribes mounting an alliance based on identity to exterminate one minority group. In this situation, here in the diaspora, it was a moral. They needed a humanitarian assistance. Our government was siding with those who were killing us. Our government. And so we had to be our own UN. We had to be our own humanitarian service to also defend the community. And so his spirit really, even though we didn't work with him hand in hand, but we worked with protecting. And that is still the situation today. He really organized and made sure people were protected. Even in that situation, he never fought against the government. He only wanted to protect his loved ones. The armed forces were in Minembwe. He was in the outskirts fending off the militias. But many times, like we said, the armed forces supported the militias by giving them tactical gears, training, ammunition to attack us. But he still maintained that this is solely a self-defense. If the government were to protect Banyamulenge, we would never ever attack the government. Until the day he died. They struck and they killed him by drone. And that's when the Twigwaneho self-defense said, enough is enough. You had killed our leader. That mean, and this is after 5 years of self-defense. Vowing not to touch the government, still waiting for the government to change its mind and protect everyone. And that's when they allied themselves with the M23. Because they were abandoned. And M23 is a Tutsi group, like Banyamulenge from North Kivu. They are also trying to protect their families that were chased out of the country. And so, I want to say in a humanitarian way, we've tried to mobilize even doctors to go to Minembwe. They were targeted and killed on their way. Humanitarian aid, trunks, anything that could get to Minembwe was destroyed on its way to Minembwe. This means that they were trying to kill and uproot Banyamulenge out of their land by fire or by hunger. Up until now, Minembwe is under a blockade. It means Banyamulenge cannot trade with other local tribes, while other tribes are able to travel from one area to another. And if you're trying to get there, you will be killed, lynched. Not only as a civilian, by the way, not only as a civilian, even if you are an armed serviceman, the fact that you're Munyamulenge, you'll be taken out of the car, lynched. These things have happened over the course of the 8 years of this struggle. And so what I'm saying is that Banyamulenge have been abandoned for many, many years. This is the third generation, like I said. But we have refused to surrender. And that's what he said, that we will defend ourselves until the very last drop of blood. And we are so grateful for everyone who has stood with Banyamulenge and the whole plateau, so that they do not surrender. Reka nshimira Abanyamulenge cyane. They babaye abatabazi mu buryo bwose, mu gihe abantu bose babakuyeho amaboko, mwabeshejeho ababyeyi banyu ino myaka yose kugeza n'uyu munsi. Ntimugacike intege nubwo intwari yacu yadusize, ndetse n'abandi bose yajanye nayo, n'abandi baracarimo bagenda, ariko ubu niwo murage twasigiwe. Ntitwatoye kuba Abanyamulenge, n'Imana yabishatse. Imana yabishatse izatugwanirira nimba twebwe tutirekuye. Icyo nje nobasaba ni ubumwe. Ndabizi ko dufite abatuvuyemo bakorana n'umwanzi kuko batekereza yuko hari ubukiriro. Abo ngabo ko tubazi, ariko se twebwe dusigaye muri uyu murongo wo kwigwanaho hamwe, tubyoroshe, tubigira ubusa, tugwanire hamwe, kuko intsinzi yacu ya mbere nuko twagwanye turi umwe, duciye mu bintu byinshi mwagiye mukora, ari ugutanga umusanzu, ari ugutabara mu buryo bwose bushoboka, ari ubuvugizi. Ibyo nibigaragaza yuko turi bamwe. Sintekereza ko hari ubundi bwoko bwo sustaining a struggle imyaka 8 bwonyine hatariho external support. Ibyo nibigaragaza yuko hari ubumwe, ariko ntago biri enough. Hari abantu bamwe bakora abandi bakumva yuko bireba abandi. Twese biratureba. Ndashaka gushimira abamama ku mwihariko, mwarakoze, bayobowe na Mama Anastasie. Uriya ni mudacogora niko namwita, mu kuorganizinga abadamu no kubaganiriza no kubashira hamwe. Turabasaba kugira ngo mukomeze noneho mube hafi y'abasigaye, abasigaye ruguru ni imfubyi ni imfubyi batakaje umubyeyi ababyeyi murabizi kurera imfubyi uko bimeze mugomba noneho kurushirizaho kurushaho ndabibwira abamama ariko ndabibwira mwese n'ababyeyi n'abana mureke dukomeze twegerane tubumwe ariko ubu nyine kandi ntituri twenyine twagize n'abandi ntitukiri inkeho dufite abandi dufatikanyije urugamba kandi nabo turabashimira sinzi muri Bible ukuntu babyita iyo urugamba rwakomeraga abantu barahagurukaga kuri Joshua bakazamura amaboko kugira ngo bakomeze abari ku rugamba kandi urugamba rurakomeye bunyine mu minembwe ntekereza yuko bari bashakaga kuburizamo kino kintu cya Gideyoni bari bashaka gufata minembwe turimo hano ariko barananiwe ntibazanabishobora rero reka mbasabe mwese muhaguruke tuzamure amaboko tuyatunge mu minembwe bakomeze urugamba kugeza dutashe muzamuhaguruke mwese mu minembwe ni east so tuyatunga amaboko turavuga twese ngo kwigwanaho ni ubuzima kuko iyi ni generation turimo yacu ya gatatu abagenzi n'abagena alpha muzaba muri generation ya gatanu ahari ntibizaba bimeze gutya ariko kwigwanaho kuzakomeza reka twese rero dutunga amaboko dutekereza abari mu minembwe ubu nyine kuri no mu Gwitsankuku ni Masisi Walikale hose muri Eastern Congo tuvuge ngo kwigwanaho n'ubuzima twese tubisubiremo rimwe kwigwanaho n'ubuzima murakoze cyane
arakoze cyane ku ijambo risubizamo imbaraga duhaye nk'uko nabivuze kare hari abantu bake bo muri iki gihugu batwumva batanze umwanya wabo babigiramo imbaraga nyinshi bayirirwa bandika bagira ubushakashatsi kugira ngo babashe kubwira isi ko turengana ndagira rero ngo aka kanya dukurikirane ijambo rya Dr. Bojana.
Let's right now listen to Dr. Bojana.
Niba
in Rwanda has spread throughout the region. It's important to understand that this ideology of framing certain people as foreigners in their own country, on their own land, has been something that has been ongoing since the independence of Congo. The situation in Minembwe and in the highlands in the past 10 years or so, it has been really reaching a climax with the presence of the Mai groups that have been targeting the Banyamulenge community specifically based on who they are. I think it's important to understand that today the ideology that has targets this community is really using this idea of self-defense groups that are there to protect the people from being targeted and from being extinct in this area, are being framed as the aggressor. It's important, for example, to now go back to what has happened in the past year or so and why it's important today to raise awareness. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me today during this important commemorative event. I am very honored and grateful for your invitation to deliver a statement today. Thank you to the organizers, thank you to also all the representatives of the Banyamulenge community. I would like to start by conveying the idea that has started today. In my work, I have raised awareness about how the ideology that has led to the 1994 genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda has spread throughout the region. It's important to understand that this ideology of framing certain people as foreigners in their own country, on their own land, has been something that has been ongoing since the independence of Congo. The situation in Minembwe and in the highlands in the past 10 years or so, it has been really reaching a climax with the presence of the Mai groups that have been targeting the Banyamulenge community specifically based on who they are. I think it's important to understand that today the ideology that has targets this community is really using this idea of self-defense groups that are there to protect the people from being targeted and from being extinct in this area, are being framed as the aggressor. It's important, for example, to now go back to what has happened in the past year or so and why it's important today to raise awareness about the ongoing situation of violence against the Banyamulenge community. In my work, as I have interviewed a number of people who live in South Kivu, particularly in the highlands, but also in Uvira, in those interviews I have been informed about the type of situation that the Banyamulenge had to face in Uvira particularly, but also in the highlands. Of course, we've had the blockade that was ongoing in the past year and so, but also now more specifically since the withdrawal of AFCM 23 from Uvira. The blockade has been ongoing. I would like to actually remind here that even the spokesperson of the army of Burundi has acknowledged that they have engaged in creating this blockade. These attacks are systematically targeting civilians, children, women, men, and elderly indiscriminately, but also destroying homes and cattle, which is the main subsistence activity. So therefore the means of subsistence have also been targeted, attacked, and destroyed, which equates to a form of ethnic cleansing. I've also been in contact with the Banyamulenge that left, the 1,000 or so Banyamulenge that have left Uvira when AFCM 23 withdrew. I was there and I followed the convoys and the Banyamulenge who had to flee because they were at risk of attack and extreme form of violence. Hundreds of families are currently in displaced camps, in a displaced camp in Commemorative. I would like to come back quickly to also Uvira, where it's important to now kind of understand how this ideology has been put in place and what are the mechanisms of that ideology. When I spoke to people in Uvira and people from the highlands, so the situation and the way that these mechanisms of genocide ideology have been put in place and have functioned have really focused on the notion of defining the Congolese Tutsi as being foreigners and equating them or assimilating them to Rwandans. One example that I could really use here is that when AFCM 23 came to liberate Eastern Congo or some areas of Eastern Congo, including Goma and Bukavu, the Mai Mai, the Wazalendo, what we call the Wazalendo, have come to occupy Uvira. The Banyamulenge were renamed Banyarwanda in order to define them as foreigners, in order to define them as being assimilated to Rwandans, that Rwandans themselves have been defined as aggressors. Again, this is political manipulation that has unfortunately targeted this community. By renaming the Banyamulenge Banyarwanda, it is a way of denying them the right to be in Eastern Congo, the right to continue their lives as they've done for several centuries on this land. The conspiracy theories that define the Banyamulenge as foreigners is exactly one of the mechanisms that has been used to deny existence, and of course to deny citizenship, but ultimately to deny existence for the Banyamulenge in South Kivu. So I do want to once again raise awareness about the situation that has been ongoing in the past year since AFC M23 have arrived to put an end to this ideology in Eastern Congo. This has been used the central government against the communities of particularly so Tutsi Kinyarwanda speaking in North and South Kivu. The FDLR, of course, as a force, as a genocidal force, which was created by the remnants of those who committed genocide in 1994 in Rwanda, have been present in both North and South Kivu, and today we can see that that violence has continued, particularly now in the areas of Masisi, Kushuro, and in North Kivu, but also in South Kivu. The FDLR have been part of this coalition where the Burundian troops are also integrated. And again, the Banyamulenge have been systematically targeted. In Uvira, we've heard that hate speech has been broadcasted on radio, but also has been used as a dangerous form of coded hate speech or hate discourse that is being used once again to define these theories that are racist theories. There are theories that exclude a certain group of people from existence and that lead to risks of genocide, but also acts of ethnic cleansing in the region are extremely omnipresent today, and it's important to really raise awareness about what is going on. So I'm hopeful that the international community will understand what is happening today and that we are really in a situation of high risk of ethnic cleansing that has already started since we've seen systematic attacks, airstrikes on civilian population in South Kivu, daily airstrikes by the central government or by the coalition of the central government that embeds all these groups that have been targeting the Banyamulenge in the last 10 years, we are really reaching a situation, an alarming situation, where the Banyamulenge are at high risk of genocide, of extermination, and they've been already for 30 years stranded in refugee camps. So it is only normal that the Banyamulenge are today fighting for their survival, because this is an existential threat. I really call on the international community, I call on all supporting groups to raise awareness about what is happening today in Minembwe, in Highlands, these systematic attacks against the Congolese Tutsi, in Eastern Congo, the systematic attacks against the Banyamulenge in South Kivu. Something must be done to protect those tens of thousands of people that are currently in the highlands at risk of extermination. We need to also allow those refugees in camps, refugee camps in neighboring countries, and those displaced in Kamanyola to be able to return. Uvira today is not safe. The only time that this community was safe was the month that AFCM 23 was in Uvira, that they have secured from
tangire kwanza ku banyamuryango bacu b'amahoro bari hano, abanyamurenge bose bibumbiye muri umuryango wacu mwiza dukunda w'amahoro, turabashimiye. Tubashimiye ku bintu byinshi, no sema ibikorwa byanyu bizwi ku isi hose, ufatikanya kwanyu no gukunda ubwoko. Turabashimiye rwose kuko uruhare rwanyu rw'ibikorwa byanyu urazwi ku isi hose. Rero turabashimiye ku bintu mukomeje gukora, tunabasaba gukomeza gukora kuko muhamubigeza kugira ngo no sema hari iwacu bazabona ubufasha buturutse kuri mwebwe. Turabashimiye kandi mwumve ko ibyo mukora birazwi kandi turabizirikana cyane. Reka dushimire inzego zigize umuryango wacu w'amahoro. Uno n'umuryango washinzwe imyaka myinshi irashize. Turashimira abantu bagize igitekerezo, nagira ngo babitekereje bareba kure cyane, ni nkaho bari bazi ngo hazaba igihe nk'iki ngiki umuryango wacu cyangwa ubwoko bugakenera uno muryango wacu w'amahoro. Abagize uruhare mu gushinga uno muryango turabashimiye. Vision yanyu niyo ihaye ikora bino bikorwa byose, vision yanyu nihaye ifasha abantu bari hari iwacu. Turabashimiye rwose. Reka dushimire komite executive, ndagira bari bayihaguruje simbahagurutsa none kandi bari babihaguruje kare ko turabashimiye ku bikorwa mukora. Hari na komite na board yacu turabashimiye rwose ku kazi ntabwo koroshe, n'ibintu abantu bakora mu buryo buri volontaire kandi bisaba amasaha menshi, ariko kubera nko mwabyemeje mukabikora turabashimiye rwose. Dushimira urwego rw'abamama n'inzego ziri pari y'umuryango wacu w'amahoro. Turabashimiye ku bikorwa byiza mukora, ibintu byose babivuze tuzongera tunabivuge. Abamama badufatiye ahantu hanini cyane, no selma kuba bafite ya nurturing aspect y'ubumama, bakora ibikorwa byinshi kandi bakanabikorwa bacicitse batavuze cyane rwose. Abamama mukomereza aho ngaho turabashimiye. Reka dushimire urubyiruko rwacu, youth, Mahoro Youth, na komite yanyu turabashimiye rwose kuko nubwo muri executive dukora ibikorwa bakaba bigasa nk'ari twebwe tuba tubikora gusa, ariko tubikorana n'urubyiruko, especially mu bintu bijyanye na advocacy. Kino gihugu ni igihugu gisa nkaho kirenze bamwe. Hari ibintu byinshi urubyiruko rudufashamo kandi turabakeneye cyane kuko muri kino gihe intambara abantu babahura nazo, ibibazo bene wacu bahura nabyo, solution cyangwa se solution yabo kenshi biri hano, kandi kugira ngo tubigereho nuko urubyiruko rwacu rugomba guhaguruka rukagura party yayo kuko nibo bazi systeme, nibo bazi imvugo rwose nk'barabikora neza. Tunabasaba gukomereza gukora neza. Reka dushimire abagwanashaka, tangire kuri komite yabo nabo kuko babivuze mbere, nabo n'urwego rw'amahoro, n'urwego rumwe mu nzego z'amahoro, ariko bagira ibyo bakora specifically kandi babikora neza. Turabashimiye n'ubuyobozi bwabo bwose. Imana ikomeze kubagirira neza kandi mukomeze muzo mukora. Kadushimire urwego rw'abapasiteri. Abapasiteri ni urwego rukomeye, ruradushigikira mu bintu byinshi, non seulement mu buryo bw'inama n'uburyo spirituel. Intambara nyinshi abantu bavuga ngo hariho intambara physique tubona, ariko hariho n'izindi intambara spirituel. Abapasiteri bacu babidufashamo cyane, utangiye ku rwego rwa Nehemiah Association. Rwose turabashimiye ku bikorwa kandi muzakomeze kutuba hafi no kuba ubwoko bwacu hafi. Murakoze cyane. Mureke tugire icyo tuvuga gatoya kuri kino gikorwa cy'uno munsi. Ngira ngo uno n'umwaka wa mbere dutangiye gukora commemoration yo kwibuka intware zacu. Ndagira kino gikorwa tugomba gufata très sérieux kubera ko ni ikintu kizatwubaka. Nitugiheza agaciro tukagitekereza neza, kizatwubaka kubera ko tumaze imyaka myinshi mu ntambara. Rero intwari zacu tugomba kuziheza agaciro kandi tukaziheza umunsi. Uno munsi wa none turawuwizigiza cyangwa turawukora tugendeye ku umunsi mukuru cyangwa se gutabaruka kwa afande wacu. Iwe arepresenta izindi ntwari, ni symbole representa intwari zacu zose, ari za kera ari zihazi zitabaruka uno munsi wa none. Rero kino gikorwa hari abatangiye ari batubaje ngese kuki tubikora uno munsi kandi ntambara itararangira. Ngira ngo ni ngombwa ngo tubikora, byabaye ngombwa ngo tubikora kubera ko icyahagurukije zino ntwari zose nikirarangira, kirakomeje. Rero n'umunsi wa none ni ngombwa ngo tubikora kugira ngo twibutse abantu, twibutse amahanga ko impamvu zatumye zino ntwara zihaguruka ziracahari. Uno munsi wa none muza makuru ahabera mu Minembwe, muzi za drone zihazitwika imihana zihazica abaturage. Mwabonye ejo bundi abakecuru b'imyaka 100 bicirwa mu mazu yabo. Rero uno munsi wa none ni ngombwa ngo tuwukora kugira ngo twibutse kandi dushira abantu imbaraga kugira ngo bakomeze gukoraho nubwo intambara itararangira ariko necessaire. Rero going forward uno munsi tugomba ku celebrating cyangwa se kuwukora tukawukura mu miryango, kuko intwari zacu ntabwo zari intwari z'imiryango, nubwo bafite aho bavutse ariko tugomba kuba eleve tukabashira mu rwego rwa nation, tukaza tubibuka mu buryo butari specific ngo tuvuge nguyu. Tugomba ku-creating a system izazivuga uno n'umunsi w'intware zacu, nubwo tuzatubigora ku munsi w'ikirenga afande general, ariko n'umunsi w'intware zacu zose. Rero mahoro izaza yorganiza uno muryango buri mwaka, uno muhango buri mwaka nkuko tubikora mu Gatumba, kugira ngo tukomeze, kugira ngo tuheza agaciro ndetse niwacu nihamara tumara kugira amahoro. Ndagira ngo tuzatumakinga sure ko niwacu tubikora mu buryo buri specific, mu buryo buri organize, tuzamuka indwara yacu ku rwego rwa nationale, tituba limite cyane mu miryango. Rero abantu nyine babonye ko uno mwaka wa mbere tubitangiye hoba hariho peut-être ibintu bitagenze neza, tabikoze ko twagombye gushaka kubikora, ariko turapromettre ko umwaka utaha n'indi myaka tuzabinonosora neza tukabigira neza kugira ngo abantu bose biyumve muri uno munsi. Rero rwose uno munsi ni ngombwa kandi tuzakomeza kuwukora kuko bigomba. Reka mvuge gatoya kubijanye n'ibikorwa by'uyu muryango muri kino gihe turimo. Abavuze mbere bavuze neza, bavuze amateka y'intambara zacu, bavuze akarengane turimo tumaze imyaka, ariko ikintu bataemphasizingemo cyane ni responsibility y'imiryango n'ibihugu, international community kubijanye no gutabara ubwoko bwacu. Ubwoko bwacu ndagira ngo ni ubwoko bwonyine buhura n'ibyago bakabura batabara, ni ubwoko bwonyine bangazwa bakaba mu refugee camp ariko ukabura na organisation nimwe yovuga ngo irahagurutse ngiye gutabara mu Minembwe. Rero bimwe mu bikorwa muno muryango uzwi kandi uhawukora kandi ugomba gukora ni ukugoboka bene wacu mu bihe nk'ibi ngibi. Mwarakoze kandi mukomereza aho ngaho. Mu myaka muri ano mezi angahe dutangiye gukora, tugiye kwenemera ibikorwa tugenda dufasha mu ma village yacu, especially muri bino bihe twari tugoswe, imiti twohereje mu ma village yacu tangiriye mu Rurambo, za Bibogobogo, za Bijomoro, Minembwe, n'abanyeshuri bacu twenyine bari mu Minembwe n'ahandi kugira ngo bishurirwe minervale kubera ikibazo cy'iwacu. Ababyeyi babo bamaze imyaka badakora, rero nta mafaranga bafite yo kwishura minervale. Rero ibyo ni ibikorwa uno muryango ukora kandi ukora kubera amaboko yanyu. Ejo bundi mwabonye impunzi zacu zavuye mu Ibuvira zihongerera mu Kamanyura, nta organisation nimwe y'abatabaye, ariko kubera humanitarian effort zanyu n'imbaraga zanyu twarabatabaye tubaheza ibyo bari bakeneye kugira ngo nabo babe nk'ababona aho boryama ni n'abamusiketeri bakwiyorosa kugira ngo abana ntibagware. Ibyo ni ibikorwa umuryango wacu ukora, ariko ukabikora kubera ko dufite imbaraga zanyu. Rero tukabasaba gukomereza aho ngaho, ntimucike intege, ahubwo mushyiremo effort kuko ibibazo biracari byinshi. Mukomeze gukora ibyo mukora, noneho mu bidouble, mushyiremo imbaraga cyane kugira ngo hari iwacu mu Minembwe ibibazo bihari nko murababivuze. Nagira nta muntu n'umwe uri hano udafite bene wabo mu Minembwe. Amakuru yo mu Minembwe nagira nta utayazi. Imyunyu kugira ngo abaturage bari hari babone imyunyu cyangwa amasukari. Twasubiye muri ya block isi ya indi twarize mbere nko Uvira ifatwa. Twayisubiyemo noneho bisiga byarabaye wese kuhagera none n'inzira yo yaragoye. Ariko turasaba ngo abantu bose muri uno muryango wacu gukora, mukore nk'uko muza mubikora kugira ngo nitubona n'inzira kugira ngo twohereze ibintu bigende bishike ku bantu babikeneye hariya tuzabikore kuko duhora tubikora. Turabashimiye rwose, kandi icyo ni ikintu muzwiho. Umuryango wacu w'amahoro nagize amahirwe yo kugenda muri Afurika gusura imiryango y'abantu bacu bahuye n'ibibazo. Rero niho namenye uburemere bw'umuryango wacu w'amahoro. Mugomba kuwugwanaho, imbaraga zo kuwugwanya zarahagurutse. Ubu none tugwanya none n'abantu bene wacu ngo turagwanya na guverinoma. Ndagira ngo mwabibonye mu kanya ino live tuhatuvugiraho none bamaze kwicamo kabiri kwikata kugira ngo kino gikorwa cyacu ntikimenyekana. Mwabibonye mwese ko turagwana na guverinoma idashaka ngo ibikorwa by'amahoro bikomeze, ko turagwanya n'abanzi badashaka ngo tuvuga ikibazo cy'abanyamurenge hariya bahabicwa. Izo mbaraga zose ko barazigwanyiriza muri no muryango wacu. Rero abanyamuryango mukomere, ntimukazemere ngo habe ikintu kiba kuri no muryango, ntimukazemere ngo habe ikintu kiba ku munyamurenge aho ari hose. Icyo kintu turakibasabye mukimenye kandi mugisengere. Nta n'ubuco bazatumara kuko dufite Imana ngo turavugisha ukuri kwacu n'ukuri tuhatugwanira kuzanisha. Mu magambo makeya nari mfite, munyemerere ntange message mu rurimi rw'icyongereza. Ndagira ngo abantu twavuze ibitureba nk'umuryango, twatanze amakuru, twatanze update, ariko abantu dukeneye kubwira cyane n'aba bazungu baba hano, ni community, international community, kuko amadecision menshi akorwa hano kari affecting ubuzima bwacu. Rero tugomba kuza tushakisha mechanisme yo kubagezaho message, kubabwiza ukuri, guhozaho, tuzaduhozaho tubabwira kugeza igihe bazabyumva. Tuza tugenda aho tugiye hose kuvuga mu advocacy tugasanga hariho ibinyoma nk'icumi. Abantu baje kubwira abantu amakuru bakababesha babwira batubeshera twebwe nk'ubwoko, ariko tugomba gushira ingufu kugira ngo tuyababwire twenyine babyumve mu kanwa kacu. Apana bari abitirira ngo nibo baturepresenta, apana bari abaza bibesha ngo bava muri bahembwe n'amafaranga ya guverinoma ya Kongo. Tugomba kubabwira. Rero muzo tuzadukora, tuzadufata umwanya wo kubabwira amakuru mu mvugo bumva, babyumve kugira ngo bamenye bunakuri. So muranyemera rero nsome rino jambo mu cyongereza. Ni jambo rivuga muri advocacy, rivuga impamvu intwari zacu zagurutse, kandi rinasaba n'ubutabera no kugira ngo amahanga yumve ikibazo cyacu. Murakoze. Distinguished guests, members of community, partners, friends, defenders of human rights and human dignity. Today we gather not only to honor the memory of a man, but to reflect on a cry he carried on behalf of an entire people. A cry that rose from the mountain of High Plateau, a cry filled with pain, resilience, and hope. A cry that simply say, protect my people. Our heroes made difficult choices at the time when silence felt safer. And whatever one's perspective on the paths taken during those difficult years, history will remember one thing. They spoke at a moment when many felt abandoned, threatened, and unheard. When the Banyamulenge community faced displacement, persecution, and threat of being erased from their ancestral land, their voices became one of the few that pierced through the darkness. Today, as Mahoro Peace Association, the voice of the voiceless, we do not remember them to glorify conflict. We remember them to acknowledge the condition that forced such a plea to exist. Since 2017, the Banyamulenge community in DRC has endured a crisis that cannot be dismissed as an isolated incident. We have seen systematic pattern, villages being burned, homes destroyed, cattle, the backbone of our livelihood, looted and killed, and entire communities besieged through the whole plateau. Scholars have described this as a slow genocide, a targeted elimination, not only of lives, but of livelihood, identity, and belonging. Thousands have fled, surviving in fragile and improvised displacement camps. Reports as recent as 2025 continue to document discrimination, hate speeches, attacks by armed groups, Mai Mai, Wazalendo, FDLR, naming but few. Let us be clear. We are not merely statistics. We are not geopolitical noise. We are human beings. We are Congolese citizens. We are mothers seeking safety for our children, farmers hoping to cultivate our land, students longing to classroom instead of conflict. What is happening in the whole plateau reflects a deliberate and calculated displacement, and it must be addressed urgently. When no one speaks, persecution intensifies. When no one intervenes, the vulnerable become targets. Mahoro Peace Association stands as a humanitarian conscience and a voice for those whose villages no longer exist, mothers working for days with children on their backs, elders who have watched their home burn. We stand firmly for this: protection of minorities, respect for identities, dignity for all citizens, and coexistence in a unified Congo. No political dispute, no military operation, and no historical grievance can ever justify attacks on civilians in our own country. And yet, as recently as December 2025 to January 2026, even today, almost March 2026. So during the capture of, a brief capture of Uvira, the Banyamulenge household enjoyed renewed looting, destruction of home and churches, and many of them displaced to Kamanyola. Not because of allegiance to any armed groups, but because of fear of stigmatization. Too many remain overcrowded, displacement are lacking security, healthcare, education, food, and shelter. And this is our call, and is a call that we say with a passion. We therefore call upon the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, our government. We call on MONUSCO, an international organization. We call on African Union, International Humanitarian Organization, to urgently ensure protection of vulnerable people. Neutral humanitarian corridors to attend Minembwe urgently. Medical care for the mothers and children. Reconstructions of schools. Monitoring of ethnic motivated violence. And accountability for attacks on civilians. And what is the role of Mahoro Peace Association in all this? When displaced families fled to Kamanyola with nothing, no food, no mattresses, no medical supply, Mahoro Peace Association stepped in. They provide the necessary needs for people in need. Our members, both in diaspora and in the region, provided emergency food, basic shelters, and essential supplies. Not because we have an abundant resources, but because we refuse to let our people suffer alone. Still, we recognize that we cannot do this alone. Silence has been an additional wound to our people. International early warning bodies have raised alarms. Genocide Watch has categorized the Banyamulenge situation as a genocide emergency. The UN Special Advisor on Prevention of Genocide has warned of widespread systematic attacks, including sexual violence. The international community, we say, do not reduce this crisis to politics. Do not hide behind neutrality when civilians are targeted. Do not wait for mass atrocities to acknowledge slow silence. Humanitarian intervention is needed now. And this is a message to our people here in the United States and our people everywhere in the world. To our mothers, you are not forgotten. To our youth, your future is still full of promises. To our elders, your suffering is seen and honored. To our MPA members, thank you. You have shown that when system fell, community can rise. You have proven that compassion is stronger than hatred. Our journey is long, but our hope is unbreakable. Our story is no longer in despair. It will be written in resiliency, unity, and peace. Let there be no doubt. We are Congolese. We are not guests. We are not outsiders. We belong to the Congo as much as any other community in the Congo. A strong Congo protects all its people, regardless of race or tribes. A united Congo rejects ethnic hatred. A peaceful Congo ensures every child grows without fear. Our call is not for division. Our call is for justice and protection. As we conclude, as we remember our heroes, we protect our people. And today, we extend them. Do not displace them. Do not erase them. Do not silence them. Protect them, support them, and do not be silent. Mahoro Peace Association will continue to be the voice of the voiceless, in service, in advocacy, in unwavering pursuit of peace. May justice rise in our plateau. May protection reaches the vulnerables. May courage replace silence. And may our children one day speak of this time, not as an era of sorrow, but as the moment the world finally listened. Thank you very much. Mbere ngonangiza reka mfatunganya nshimire Mahoro ya hano Dayton ku mirimo myiza bakoze kuba baratwakiriye muri kino gikorwa. Komite yabo iyobowe na n'umuvandimwe Rumenge turabashimiye, katubasaba muhaguruke kugira abantu babone. Komite yose y'amahoro hano loko muhaguruke aho muhagaze mwese. Turabashimiye rwose kuri ino organisation, mwayorganize neza cyane, hari umutuzo kandi programme mwayishize kuri gahunda yose. Reka dushimire organisation yateguye kino gikorwa, komisiyo twashinze, nabo muhaguruke namwe babone kubera ko nimwe mwashizeho ino gahunda yose. Turabashimiye rwose kuri no programme kandi mwabikoze neza cyane. Reka turangize tusubize ijambo ku muyobozi wa gahunda. Imana y'umugisha, murakoze.
Rakoze Perezida, turagana ku musozo. Ngira ngo umwanya twakoresheje neza nubwo twarengejeho gato, ariko umwanya twakoresheje neza. Ngira ngo ibyimwe nagomba kuvuga arabivuze byo gushimira abantu batandukanye. Ariko mbere yuko tugana ku musozo ndagira ngo mpamagare Perezida wa communauté ya hano mahoro ya hano muri Dayton, afite ijambo ritaza kuvuga, hanyuma tugane ku musozo.
Arakoze umuyobozi wa gahunda. Nta byinshi jewe mvuga kuri uyu munsi kubera ko ibintu byose byavuzwe byari bikenewe, kandi nubwo twoceceka kubabona gusa konyine ko kuravuga. Iki gikorwa kugira ngo kigende neza cyitabirwe n'imbaraga nyinshi zakoreshejwe n'iyi timu yose bahagurukije, kandi turabashimiye. Nje ndatanga amatangazo, ariko nanone mbanza kubashimira. Mu by'ukuri mwagize neza kwitaba. Iki nicyo gikenewe, nicyo kibanze, ni nacyo cy'ingenzi, ni nacyo twokora. Kandi uko mwitabye gutya mwavuye hirya no hino mu masiteti atandukanye, ariko muzoza mwitaba ibikorwa byose pe. Babivuze ni mwebwe HCR, ni mwebwe CICR, ni mwebwe UNICEF, ni mwebwe iriya miryango yose, ni mwebwe. Ni ukuvuga ngo umuntu wese utaza witabira imisanzu yo gufasha iwacu, je umenya kuko ndatinya kubyita icyaha, ariko ntabyita icyaha kuko jewe si pasiteri. Ni icyaha gikomeye kuko mama wamufasha, kandi gukora neza ni byiza. Iyo murya mugasagura babasaba 200 mukanga kuyitanga, mukayishakira impamvu muzi neza ko ariyo yubaka iwanyu, icyo ni icyaha. Iyo bavuga ngo tugende tuje kuvuga, duhaguruke twese, narebye bano bantu sanga twohaguruka twese, twashaka ntituvuge, tukicara hariya kuri UN, nta tiki dusaba ni ndende, tukicara kuri White House, mucecetse gutyo, mucecetse ntaho havuga, byovuga cyane kuruta ibyo mwamuvugira hano ahari. Muzabitekerezeho, nibazo baba ngo tugende tugenda. Reka nshimire abayobozi b'amahoro, nshimire abayobozi b'Abarwanashyaka, nshimire communauté, nshimire imiryango, abashitsi bacu twabanye, nshimire bene wacu bose twatumiye bakatwitaba. Mu by'ukuri habonetse abantu bashaka kuvuga ko kino kintu cyateguwe mu buryo butunguranye, ariko mwacitabye, mwagize neza cyane. Ndashimira aba protocol bacu bahagaze kuva mu gitondo, bahagaze kuva umunsi kino gikorwa gitangira, amanama menshi. Mu izina ryabo bose ndashimira Vice President Bagaza Clement, ndashimira Gasongo mu bahano